Test. Yo, can you hear me, Crunt? I got a new sound box. I got a whole new sound system yesterday. I spent all of last night and most of today setting it up and working on one or two last little kinks. Might sound a little bit different today. Might be better, might be worse. I'm not going to pretend to have all of the answers because I don't. Sounds clear? Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, the GoXLR company, they pretty much are like gone. The whole team is gone from everybody that worked on it and stuff. And frankly speaking, their software is a little buggy for how long that device has been available. So I figured it was time to move on and try something else. So here I am. Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm trying a new audio interface. It is under the Amazon return window, so if I decide that I hate it for whatever reason, can always try again with something else, but I'm not super concerned. I think the only thing that this device doesn't have is an SPDIF. That's basically it. Yeah, there's a lot of settings for it. Obviously, I haven't really been able to test it completely the way that I would probably want, but that usually requires doing some live stuff. I have the noise gate on it pretty aggressive. If I completely turn it off, I don't really think I'm losing too much there. There might be some EQ running on it. So if I turn that back on, if I turn it to adaptive, it gets bad. This is like the automatic. This is the automatic noise remover. As you can tell, it works, but it makes me sound incredibly robotic. Incredibly robotic. It basically doesn't really function. So I don't like that, because that is terrible. That completely takes the punch out. But I think that it's actually just straight up better. If I turn off the EQ that it has completely, then it sounds like this. How is that? How is that? Is that any better? Is that any better? I'm just messing with it now. So this is with nothing on it at all. This is with it running with its like standard EQ. Maybe that's a little too digital, a little too much. A little eh. I think it sounds better without it. I think it sounds better without it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's also like, I can cut off the low end as well, which I think cuts out some noise. I think it cuts out some noise, but the more I cut out, obviously it takes a little bit out of the bass out of my voice. So I have an option for a low frequency cutout. It just cuts out the low frequency, so I'm messing with it right now over and over as I'm talking. I'm just flipping it back and forth. It's not big. Doesn't seem to be unless I turn it up a lot. Yeah, you get a little more low end with it removed, which is closer to your normal voice. Yeah. I definitely have been running some of the effects from like the Go XLR on my voice, so I'm not going to pretend that it's all set up properly or anything like that. So that's just where I'm at. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I'll be looking at and trying to figure out and do and get it to work and all of that. So I'm not really worried about it. Now the compressor seems like it's pretty strong on this too. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to mess with. There's a lot of things I can mess with. So I'm gonna assume that I sound okay right now, but can I ask you if it needs to be, if you think a little bit louder or quieter? I'm gonna do like a little co-op game just to warm up, and then I've got a bunch of replays. I got a bunch of games to cast that were all very well advertised. They were all very dope, I should say. They sounded pretty nice. So turn down the gain just an itsy bitsy bit. That is fantastic. So the cool thing about this device is that it has physical buttons. So what I can do, it has like a toggle that changes what the buttons do based on having something like enabled or not. So I have a full tab of buttons basically for me, and then I press one toggle and it switches over to a completely different array of buttons. It's the same buttons, of course, but a little light turns on, and that's like, this is affecting just everybody watching the stream. So Go XLR had a similar feature, but it didn't work that well. Their routing table was pretty advanced, but the biggest issue I had with the Go XLR, outside of the fact that you couldn't seek support for the product because they only operated on their Discord channel, which should be a crime, should be a felony. It should literally be against the law for a company to do that. But if you guys remember a long time ago, I had a hi to Crunt Jammin', my homie here, and anybody brave enough to watch the VOD of a live stream back. And I know we just started here, so if you end up tuning into this, if you're watching this VOD, eating Doritos at 2 in the morning on your belly, and you're like, I know Nate's not live, I just missed his voice. Shout out to you. Thank you. That's part of why I'm doing the YouTube stuff. It's a little easier for people to find just general stuff to watch when they come to my channel now. So that is a part of it. That is a part of it. The other part was Twitch blowing up my contract, but it turns out that's not actually happening. I got kind of lucky, so Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I already did the big flare thing about making everything on YouTube, so I do think I want to stick with that because it is very fun. So long term, that's still the goal. You know, Twitch will probably screw me over eventually. It wouldn't be the first time, right? But how are you doing, Crunt? How was your day? I'm gonna be messing with this all stream, probably having a little bit of fun with it, just because I know. All right, I can just go straight to a starport. Right, that's what I'm supposed to do. The Marines cost a lot on this, if I recall correctly. That's fine. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I can independently adjust the audio for myself and for the stream, very on the fly. So if you tell me that something is too quiet or too loud or whatever, I can press one button and my headset audio will switch to be the exact same as the stream audio. Nathan, why would you do that? Nathan, I don't understand. Well, the primary reason is, like, you know, if I wanted to listen to music or something and I didn't want to have it go on stream, I could do that. I'm not doing that. I had the ability to do that before. It kind of kills your ability to interact with chat if you have some stuff distracting you that you know that you can't talk about with them, right? So we still don't have a fusion core. That is unfortunate. So let's just get upgrades. Get a little banshee. Get a little banshee action. You know, my Marines only cost, what is it, like 75 minerals on this this thing. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. My Banshees cost 200 minerals, 225. It's like building scouts in Brood War. We did a Brood War stream last week. We're probably gonna. I know I say Brood War, and then somebody was like 100% of the time is like, Nathan, you need to specify that it's StarCraft 1 and not Brood War. And I'm like, they're the same game, ho, okay? Just listen to me. As someone who was born in 1993, StarCraft 1 and Brood War, it's all just one game. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the truth, you know? They made a game, and then they made an expansion for it. They didn't make a whole new game. That is considered a hot take. Under the Geneva Conventions, I believe that actually gives you legal ground to kill me. But please don't do that, because I like being alive. I thought there would be a ship here, but there's not. There's no ships at all on the west side of the map. So that means there's going to be extra ones on the right? Is that... That's kind of where I'm at here. But yeah, the guys that made this this audio device I'm using now, they also made the old one that I used to use way back when, right before the Go XLR came out, actually. So, I've always liked Roland. I've always been a fan. I used the Roland VT3 back in the day, and then the Go XLR came out, and now the Go XLR is kind of like an unsupported product, basically. So I think this has maybe one or two less features based on what I've seen so far, but I really like that they don't have anything required to be done by sound processing. So that's the other thing about this. The quality properly configured should end up being significantly better with this setup, just because it's they just have high quality hardware on the inside of it, and none of it is done via software emulation or whatever, which apparently a surprising amount of the previous stuff was. So there you go.
The infested are one thing, but Amon's forces are an even bigger threat. Take them out.
So yeah, that's been the story of the last 24 hours. Set up a new sound box, got a whole new mixer dealerino. Yeah, Roland preamps are pretty good. Yeah, I mean, the Go XLR stuff was like, the whole point of that device is that it's feature rich. But I find that I'm in a place where I can still do all of those things anyway without that device now, because I'm much more experienced than I used to be. But also, all of that crap isn't what makes the stream good anyway. So nothing really changes outside of people will probably notice that the quality is probably going to end up being a little better once I have it tuned properly. I don't know what settings they'd recommend on this device for an SM7B, but I'm sure, unlike GoXLR, I won't have to make a Discord account and join their server in order to get an answer. So when I told Katie that that was the only customer support they offered, was just like asking in the support tab of their Discord, she was like, her mind was blown that I'd even bought the first one. And I was like, well, they didn't have the Discord back then. Kappa. They just had no website, and you just thought they were gonna eventually make one, and they just never did. They just never did. Look at my dudes. They're so powerful. I'm so proud of them. Sounds different for sure. A bit peaky when you even slightly raise your voice. Yeah, so the thing about the GoXLR is that basically all of its features are run via software, so the app has to always be on for it to work. The nice thing with the Roland Bridgecast, which is what I'm using now, is that everything is just onboard hardware. It's all actual preamps. It's all actual everything. The app does not need to be running for anything on this device to work, which was a big selling point for me, because it means that I don't actually need the app to use it. I just need to put the driver on any device that I would use it with, and all the settings are on the device. So yeah, you can definitely feel the compressor kick in a lot more on this, since it's some kind of physical thing inside the device itself that's doing it. It's not just being software emulated by the computer. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about the growing pains. It's something that we're gonna figure out how to use. There's a bajillion different settings for the compressor, so I could take this point probably. I could probably just take this point right here, and then yeah, I could try to mess with it. But it's cool. The coolest part is that I don't have to just leave the application open or running all the time in order to do stuff. So I just turned off the de-esser. I think that might have given a little bit of the. So if I have any of the settings running too much or too aggressively or in a wrong combination, then it will start to pull out. It'll start to pull large amounts out. So I want the sound to be whole and full, and I want it to come through rich and clear. That's very important to me. And aside from that, everything else we can always tweak and post. And the more Terran air supply that I build, the faster my cooldown comes back for everything else. So that's pretty nice. Just got to get a few more orbitals to close things out. But in this scenario, you want to spam your Hyperion as much as possible, because that's what the Prestige gives us. The Hyperion cooldown comes back almost twice as fast when you have a bunch of air supply on this one. So you see that it's increased by 64%, the cooldown, and increased in the speed that it goes down. The actual cooldown itself is not increased. The actual cooldown itself doesn't change at all. The meter just moves faster once you have... Oh yeah, I don't have any detection. Yeah, that's a problem. I guess detection might help. So you see it definitely already sounds different. But it's going to catch those peaks a lot better than the software compressor, which means that I'm going to have to be a little more careful myself on how I do everything. It's a fun challenge, like figuring things out like that. But this is This is pretty low-level grunt work for me now. Even Nathanias. I don't think I struggle enough doing this sort of thing that it's a big deal anymore. I just figured Roland would be a better company for to run the stream audio than the guys that don't exist anymore. Let's get her done. Zelnaga Void Array.
Starting the launch sequence. That's sure to get the infested's attention.
But yeah, you see how fast my Hyperion comes back? So all I need to do is just keep my supply really high and just crazy full up on Banshees, basically. And that will allow me to just spawn endless cattle bruisers. Beautiful, beautiful and dirty rich, bang, bang. I figure I'll just clean out these future locations for when the squad rolls up. Get rid of the tanks, maybe get rid of some of the spores. It's beautiful, I know. Yeah, the only thing that the Roland didn't have, the only thing the Roland doesn't have is that I use is the it's a SPDIF. That's how I've been getting the sound to the Go XLR. But that's meant to be used for like consoles more so than computers. So there's a bajillion other ways to get audio virtually over to another machine. NDI is one option. I did kind of struggle getting it to work, but I think maybe there's like some other plugin for voice meter or whatever. But what I'm using right now, what I ended up settling on for today, because it was the fastest thing I could get set up. I wanted to do my stream, but this is only for the game sound and nothing else, is Voice Meter Banana. So I found out that Voice Meter actually has a network. They have a network audio driver, so you can just run your entire audio over LAN to another Voice Meter instance. So that's what I'm using to get the audio across, and that seems to be working really, really well. I haven't played with Voice Meter Banana very much in my career because I've mostly been using hardware solutions, but because I don't have an SPDIF port on this device and 3.5mm jacks generate too much noise. Literally, there's like a lot of noise on the signal if I just plug the headphone port into my line in on the Roland. So the clearest audio signal I can get is to keep it digital the whole way through. So that's why I'm running it over the network, and it works really well. It definitely works. So that's very nice. Okay, you see how fast the Hyperion cooldown's going, by the way? It is ticking the seconds heavily. Protoss had the mothership. Why couldn't Terrans get Raynor's battlecruiser? I agree. They need to add the Hyperion to 1v1, please. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My name's Nathaniel. My name is Nathaniel. Nathanias. You may have heard of me from such hit Hollywood classics as Clerks 2, Clerks 3, Clerks 4, Clerks Remastered, Clerks Remake. Two different things. Man, they are going in on this ship, huh? Oh, it was so close! I'm tilted. Yeah, you see that? You see how this thing handles me getting loud? That's good though. That's very good for us to have that. So what is the threshold on this right now? I should probably take a look at that. We had all the stuff, by the way. We had everything. I don't even understand how they got on to the objective to kill it. We were both maxed out. We had huge armies sitting right on top of them, and they just killed it. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, it is clipping a little bit. Let me see. Let me see what the recommended threshold would be for this. So they're saying a 3.2 to 1 ratio, but I think that brings it down way more. But their threshold is minus 15 dB, so let's try that. Test. 1, 2. Spawning in the top left, we have the red Terran player. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the attack is on 0.0. You think that's the problem? Need to take that up, maybe like 5 ms? Let's see what options are there for it. It can do, it's increments of 10. So we could have it on 10 milliseconds. I have the release on 1600. These are like all the default settings for it, so should probably bring the release way down too. Although the ratio that it suggests for the Go XLR, which is like a 3.2 to 1, this is what I had set up before. So this is where it was before the other day. This is what I had it on with the Go XLR settings. So hopefully that's a little bit better. Is that more clear now? Does that sound better? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. All right, how about that? I've got the attack on 10, the release on 50. It still clips a little bit. There are other options. I can change the compressor threshold still. I still have some of the other stuff on. But I feel like that's a little bit better. Right? Is that sounding much better, you think? Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Based Gods. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. It's gonna take spending a while to make it perfect, but it's sounding good. Thank you. Yeah, that's where we are, right? That's exactly where we are. So I've just been having fun with that. So I've just been having a little bit of fun with that in my spare time, you know, because Nathan's a little bit of a freak. That's all. That's all. I love my technology. I love my toys. I love learning. I love computers. It's all very important. It's all a very big deal to me. So like the way the thing looks, got those color knobs and stuff. Yeah, it's much smaller. It's much smaller physically than the Go XLR, which is the other nice thing. Takes up a lot less space on the desk. This is it. This is the whole device. It's a whole kit and caboodle. However that saying is supposed to go, but it's right there. I do have a camera effect running, but you can see it's much smaller. It doesn't have the SPDIF port though, so this is power. This is the Shure, well, the Cloud Lifter. These are my GameStop speakers. This is the USB for power, and then this is the this is the USB for power, and then this is the USB-C to the streaming PC. So everything is set up. As you can see, I don't have a line running in from the gaming PC because I'm doing that over the network. There is an aux in that I could run it to, but there's a lot of signal noise on it. So the only thing that would really get rid of that typically from machine to machine is if you like run it through another hardware piece that usually takes all the volume out of it. So again, messing with analog sound is typically an exercise in futility. I would not recommend it. If you can keep your sound digital, keep your sound digital. At least if you're doing this. All right, if you're recording you're recording some big album or whatever, then go for that. You know, record your album, do whatever you got to do. But if you're just broadcasting on the internet, keeping the audio as digital as possible will prevent noise. All right. I kind of want to try that again now. I'm upset. I don't have battle cruisers unlocked. That's the real problem. What do I even need to unlock this stuff for Raynor? Hyperion point defense drone. So I don't get battle cruisers until level 5. So what's the mutator? Could I just get to level 5 right here? Power overwhelming and Avenger. Yeah, on Scythe of Amon, Nathaniel? How about no? We could do a brutal, we could do another brutal one though. Just a regular, just see what happens. Let's give it one more shot and then we're gonna cast, okay? Thanks for being here, guys. I call this the lab. We work on stuff, we mess with some things, we try things out, and I record some stuff to publish later where many more people will watch it. That's our game plan. We're gonna get a bunch of casts in. We'll probably play some ladder games, mostly because I've been dominating lately. My MMR is at a year high, so it's very nice. It's very nice. We get Dead of Night again. Excellent. We get another chance. We get another chance here. Yeah, and then Thursday is Throwback Thursday, so we'll be live here on Thursday too. But on Thursday we're gonna finish up the Protoss SC1 campaign and start the Protoss Brood War campaign, since those are actually not the same thing. But the final, it's like the final Brood War, the final SC1 mission is Protoss, and the first SC Brood War mission is also Protoss. So they flip-flop the orders on them. They flip-flop the orders on you a little bit. Nice piece of hardware. Thank you. And again, the best part about this is that unlike the Go XLR, which did definitely have plenty of random issues that affected me, this works completely, totally fine plugged in and no app running. So I have the app closed. I actually shut it down, and that's it. I'm just straight up killing it. I just realized I could probably turn the bit rate up since we're doing 1440 today on YouTube. So I just cranked up the data on that. The stream may start to look better if you're watching on 1440 right now, or if you're watching the VOD. I don't know. Some guy was watching the VOD on 1440, like I said, in his boxers eating Doritos, and then he's like, holy crap, the stream looks better. Can see through time. That's right. Probably, when I think about drawbacks of this device versus the Go XLR, there's no bleep button. So, and if I will make one complaint, I have only one complaint about this device, and I actually think that if I reach out to Roland, they'll probably implement a fix just for me, because I think if I explain to them, I feel like there's absolutely no way they haven't considered this. But just so you guys know, there is no dedicated mic button on this device. One of the faders is set to a microphone, which is totally fine. Like one of the faders is just straight up a microphone that it's running on. Oh, I need a barracks to make an orbital though, don't I? No, you don't. No, that's the whole point, Nathan. There's no tech requirements anymore. You can just build it at the beginning of the game. That's what I need to do. Yeah, the only thing that I want is I want the fader for the microphone to adjust my Discord volume, and I don't want the fader to adjust my microphone volume, because my microphone volume is something that I like to set and forget, which I'm sure makes a ton of sense and is quite reasonable. But what I would like to be able to do is have it so that the button on the mic, the button mutes my microphone, but I'd like the fader to control my my chat mixer, and not the microphone mixer, because it just doesn't. I don't want to change my mic audio that regularly, you know. I can't really think of many reasons why I would want to do that. So there are only so many scenarios where I would be regularly moving it up and down, and that's even including just to myself. So if they fix that, then that's great, because one of my faders is just kind of useless, since one of my faders, in order to have a mic button, in order to have a mute mic button, I have to have the fader set to microphone. So that is what makes it kind of dumb. That's my biggest problem with the device. But that is not the worst. That is not the worst thing. I could put a bleep button on the Go XLR, that's pretty easy, or I could put it on the Stream Deck, that's pretty easy. I still have the Elgato foot pedal. I could do stuff with that, so. Look at this guy, by the way. He's getting his triple upgrades. Gonna build his orbital bombardment guys from the inside. He's locking it up.
We call these ones boomers. They spit acid and they explode when they die.
Yeah, mic adjustment only makes sense for multiple people in the room, sort of thing. And there are other ways to do that too. I have a lot of different ways to mess with stuff. The main reason why I was excited about the Roland Bridge cast is that it has again, it has the multiple feeds, but it works just like the Go XLR does in terms of how that actually works. So you have multiple sound devices added to Windows through the driver suite, and those added options allow you to set everything. So like I have Spotify still set to music, just like with my Go XLR. My game still set to game, even though I'm running it over the network. The game feed is still on the game fader, which makes it really, really easy and convenient to have everything accessible. Got the Discord message and had to get a YouTube account adjusted to come follow along. Thank you, Mr. Jamai. Welcome to the stream, bro. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah. So we were talking about, I got a new audio device. I got a new audio mixer today for today's stream. I've switched from the Go XLR to the Roland Bridge cast since the Go XLR guys are like out of business or something. That was like the news last week. Those guys are just gone apparently. Did my internet crash? Oh no, his computer crashed. Okay. Guys, you know how often OBS crashes in the first hour of my YouTube stream? It's almost guaranteed. In fact, I'm still scared it's gonna happen. The moment that happened, my first thought was, oh, it's inevitable. I have not been able to do a stream on YouTube yet without OBS crashing. Even if I change nothing, it just freaks out on me. So now I don't have to run that extra app anymore. Now the only extra app I'm running is Voice Meter Banana, which I trust more than the Go XLR driver software that has 2 applications that run nonstop. All right, so what we do is, since we got a bunch of guys to put in here, we give them all the big guns, right? We put the big gun guys in there. Big gun guys go into the bunker. Everybody with those heavy machine guns, right? And that's the way we do it.
A little longer, commanders. The infested can't survive in the sun.
And now I've got unholy amounts of money. So what Mansk is he? Oh, he's just regular Mansk. Okay. You can't put the Marauders in these bunkers, though, huh?
We need to destroy enough structures today to stay ahead of the infestation. I've already marked a few for you.
Go on, sir. Who's resisting us today?
Okay. Well, I think that the tech here is probably to make the mass orbital bombardment guys, right?
To spec.
We should just make the mass orbital bombardments. And if I build up my supply of Banshees and whatnot, then we'll get...
Here's some more structures to burn out.
Sir.
I don't have access to his top bar, which kind of sucks, but... I guess I could probably build battle cruisers, huh?
This is the home front now. Empire's right behind it. My dominion, right or wrong. Is that you, Emperor?
Your friends are in a bit of a pickle.
This is the home front. We're the higher authority. I'm prepped.
Yeah, I think we just got to make it rain these guys, right? Use the mules, drain it, tank it, take it all. Put the big heavy guns on all my dudes.
This is the home front now.
Love that those Marauders are still doing work.
Let's lend a hand. Your command, sir.
We're making good progress, but there's still a lot of infestation to go. Taking most of the day, commanders. It's nearly over. Looks like we can find additional structures here.
This is the home front now.
Just keep dropping mules.
Can't leave it.
Keep spawning guys. We will be okay.
Here comes.
We will be okay. Marauders got themselves super shield dudes now. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
If our base falls to the infested, this planet will be lost.
Empire's right behind me.
No problem.
If you can't leave it, love it.
Okay, so we don't actually. Okay, that's how we'll do it. We'll just hotkey it this way. We'll just hotkey it this way.
Empire's right behind me. Here comes. I'm worth 10.
Ally needs help.
Can't leave it. Love it. Gold. I'm worth 10 of them. This is the home front now. This is the home front. Empire's right
Yeah,
behind.
just gotta make it rain.
Good at night, commanders. The infested will be here any minute.
Look, this is not the scenario that I envisioned myself having to overcome in order to win this game.
The infested
But I just want you to know I appreciate a good challenge, all right? I'm here. I'm here for the party.
Right or wrong.
I am here.
On time. This is the home front. Hyperions eastbound.
spotters are in the air. Shoot 'em down.
We do not want that to be what kills us. Okay. We just need more orbital disruptor guys. Looking at this Gold XLR thing, they just closed up shop in Vancouver one day. Yeah, basically. Again, their primary form of customer support was via a Discord channel. They don't actually have a website. Or I want you to imagine that like a software that you use for your job full time, like literally doesn't have patch notes.
Wants to attack us now too.
Like they don't share any info. You just occasionally would go onto their Discord and see that they posted a beta. It was bad. It was real bad. Real bad.
Don't give up, commanders. This nightmare is about to end.
Did we clear these? Just gotta be active with them, Nate.
Hustle. But I'd advise against it, commanders. It'll be easier to take out the structures in the daytime. Let's get to work, commanders. We have to burn enough of the infestation today so that we don't fall behind.
Maybe we get another supply depot or 2 or 3 to back them up.
Nuclear launch detected.
Wow, they just got nukes set up on outside of my base, huh? Is there another nuke?
Waving the band. We're the higher ground. If you can't leave it, love it. I'm worth 10 of them. This is the home. Calling down the banshees. If you can't leave it, love it. Hyperion's on its way.
My favorite part of the stream, where I very quietly micromanage my long-range bombardment cannons to just blow everybody up. I can't lie. I can't lie. I get transfixed. Unleashing devastating payloads from afar. Obliterating and shadow realming my enemies. It's fun. It is a good time. It's a good time. I feel like we got all the ones up here though, right? Yeah, we got a few more to get. Let's pop them, bop them, and pop them. And as long as I keep building air units, I'm basically gonna get infinite gains. So, infinite gains.
In it together, by any means.
Those are cleared out. Those are cleared out. Let's get the next wave.
But I know we can survive it. Don't get too bold out there. If our base falls to the infected,
So when you say over the network for sound, what does that even mean? Wouldn't you experience sound lag? So what I'm using is 2 instances of Voice Meter Banana, which has an ASIO driver based audio over LAN. So what I want you to imagine is that I have 2 computers that are both connected to the same network switch. So they're physically adjacent to one another. And on the router, they are literally on the same line since the switch goes to the router. But they can communicate directly with each other in this room. And what it does is the audio that would be coming from the game that would be going towards my speaker, right? Hypothetically in Windows, it'd be going to my Windows speaker. That is basically set up to relay everything over IP, over local network IP. Man, we are getting blasted. Uh-oh. Yeah, enemies kind of getting in on me here, you know. It's not good. It's not good. We're in trouble. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nate, this might be your last night. If you don't win it all here, I think we're gonna lose. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess the Vikings just should have been on the ground the whole time. The Vikings just should have been ground units. I mean, I say that and then the air guys fly in and kill everything, so maybe not. I don't know. You've got medics and medevacs together healing hellbats or firebats, so that also makes it difficult. Oh, I never even got the worm. All right, well, this is it. This has to be it. If we don't kill him here, we are Denzel Washington. Yeah, this is it. This is gonna be our final. All right, what else can I reach from here? Can I kill any of these compounds while my main army goes to work? If we found a way to save this, that would be amazing. I mean, don't I have these command centers, Nate?
Sending you the coordinates for more structures.
We're almost there. We're almost there. I wish I had the toxic bombardment from Minsk. That would help. I think we're gonna die though. I think we are dead. Are there really that many buildings left, though? Feels like we've made some progress. Getting nuked again.
It's almost nighttime. Be ready for the infested.
Come on, come on.
We're the higher authority.
Just got to get the ones that are out of the range of the bombardment, right? Oh no.
Here come the infested. We have to hold them off until sunrise. Don't let them roll us. If our base falls to the infested, this planet will be lost.
Are we there? We almost got it. We almost got it. Mate, you're about to lose the game, so I would suggest you just click on the buildings and pray. Oh my god. This is it. This is it.
But I'd advise against it, commanders. It'll be easier to take out the structures in the daytime.
Yeah, that's bad.
Looks like cloaked units.
No!
Detection out here.
It's the last one. That's the last one. Get it, 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 get it.
Our purpose.
Whew.
Our triumph.
Well, don't let anybody ever tell you I'm good at this game, okay? Almost clutched defeat right out of the jaws of victory. It was close. It was close. To be fair, my teammate did abandon me, so just so you guys know, I do feel like a small child left behind at Walmart or Kmart to be put on a blue light special sale. That is kind of what that game was like. Not only did I successfully navigate my way toward the Nintendo 64 display so that I could play Super Mario 64 while I wait for my dad to get groceries, I also made it back home safely. You wanted a good ending to that story, I assume. I did that all the time. The best way to get your dad to let you go look at the video games is to pretend to be interested in what he's interested in. So I never asked my dad if I could go look at the video games at Walmart. I just asked if we could go look. I said, can we go look at the cameras? Since I know he loves cameras and they're always right next to the video games. Easiest sell ever. But yeah, easiest sell ever. So did voice meter just blow up there? The game sound stopped, right? You guys don't hear the background music coming through anymore, I assume? Now see, the music should still be on. BattleNet service connection lost. Is that just because of the game? Losing internet? No, doesn't seem like it. Okay. Sometimes it'd be like that, I guess. Yeah, this is my game. Looks like the network just disconnected on this machine. I think it said specifically this machine has been having some issues with that, huh? Because the NDI broke as well. I'm still live though, so it must just be this Ethernet port. I'm just gonna try replugging it in. All right, let's see if that fixed it. Oh, and it's back. Wow, that actually worked much better than I thought it would. Okay. Okay, then. It was just the Ethernet. That sounds like a totally okay issue to have, right? We'll just work on that and take another look at it later. Maybe the way that this microphone peaks too is something that I have to keep in mind with, like, maybe I just shouldn't have my face on it the whole entire time, right? Maybe that's got something to do with it. I've been trying to practice some better microphone etiquette over the last couple of months too, so you just have to forgive me. Okay, so I do have some great games to cast today, and we'll have to we can mess with the audio in between these if it seems really terrible, but otherwise I am mostly just looking forward to some shenanigans. So we've got some games from the Korean Starleague this week that I heard the results are just kind of all over the place. So I also heard the games were just really, really good. I say as I keep doing that thing every time I open my mouth after I take a breath. Again, I'm working on everything. I promise you. Let's see what we've got. We've got some. I'm gonna turn off my replay information so I don't see anything. Let's start with Hero versus Future. I love Hero. I love TVP. This should be a brutally difficult series for him, which means it should be a good one, right? Presumably. Should be a good matchup. So let's get to it. Okay, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. I'm Nathanias, as always, putting the player names in the wrong order, but we are here on Royal Blood, kicking off another fantastic week of matches. There were a lot more replays with this week's pack, so I'm excited to say, gonna have a lot more games to cast for you. This tournament runs like in the middle of the night, US time, because it is run in Korea. It is an online tournament for Korean players to be able to earn a couple of extra bucks, but of course anybody can compete. You just have to play on the Korean server. So without further ado, in the bottom left, we have the red Protoss player. He is Hero. Representing DKZ, if that is still a thing. I really just like that his portrait appears to be, he's just got, is that Zest? No, Zest is a little hotter than that. Could be so it's not Hero. I mean, Hero's way better looking than that. I don't know whose banner he's using. His opponent in the top right, you may know him, an American Terran player, much like myself, except a little bit better than me, maybe a lot better than me. He is Future from IMXL. So I'm gonna guess that he's one of the 300 Spartans based on this logo. It also reminds me of the Maturino logo, which, surprise, surprise, if you look up the Korean Starleague, you can actually find them on Patreon and Maturino. Why do I plug them? They don't pay me. That's okay. They run this tournament. Dave Testa, Chicken Man SC, they put in a lot of work. They also organize and name all of the files for us so that even if we can't get to catch them live, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of other people commentating the matches. I know Loco was posting in there, thanks to them. So I'm going to assume he's got some cool stuff in the works as well. But Hero, he gets that probe across early, and he was just trying to see, what are you up to? Double gas from the Terran typically signifies really fast factory, sometimes a proxy. The Reaper comes out and kills the probe, and that's a really big pickup, because if you get a chance, you want to go up that ramp and see what add-on. You want to see the add-on. You want to see what the Terran's trying to do. The Reaper might have missed this Zealot, so if Hero can get over here, it can make things a little bit awkward. We did talk about it. It was double gas, which means there is no there's no natural, there's no third base, there's no, I don't know why my brain went to third base. Obviously there's no third base, but the bigger thing is the Zealot can't deny the natural since it's not being made down there. The Reaper goes in for a scout, but he sees, okay, you've got the reactor here, and if any factory units come out, he'll know that the factory was built at home. But as a Protoss, you have a checklist of things you always want to be aware of. Has the Terran opened with double gas? If they've opened with double gas, what add-on do they make with their barracks? Where is their factory? Is it in their base? Is it being proxied? And the same thing can be said of the starport. So oftentimes when you have a player like Hero, it's a little bit more about his plan though. So I don't think that he's super worried about what Future would do. But I think that he's showing a little bit of respect. If you know Future, he's definitely one of those NA Terrans that will break out the full NA builds against you. And when you're kind of a crazy player like Hero is, and Hero has been his whole career, you know, you don't actually want to run into the other crazies. The weird builds tend to work much better against players who are following something more standard, playing a little bit more of a traditional setup. That's when you're going to see those crazy builds become powerful. But you just got, I would describe this game, it's two psychopaths against each other. Obviously, Hero has quite a reputation, and if you've been watching competitive StarCraft at literally any point ever, you guys may remember CJ Entis Hero. That is the team that he used to play on for quite a while. One of the original Kespa Protoss players to come over and party hard with Nathan at DreamHack Stockholm. I got a lovely photo of myself with this man imparting. It's a little bit blurry though, sadly. None of us were all there for that picture, but it was a good time. And he's going to send the Cyclone out now. So Cyclone is the big bully. Adepts, they don't really do anything against it. Typically, they're not supposed to be able to reach it because the Cyclone has a great range. But he says, I'm willing to bleed some damage on the Cyclone to kill the extra Adept. So 2 of the Adepts die, but they're not really important in this matchup. I don't think anybody cares too much about the Adept specifically. Now, the Oracle comes in and gets 3 kills total, 2 workers, and that's a nice pickup. So it is a little bit pinned down by the Cyclone, so he's going to recall, and that is a really good grab for Future. I find it very rare to be able to force out that recall from the Protoss so early. Sometimes you'll see it done with the Probe Scout, but it's not always going to be the way that people approach it. So the tank comes way forward towards the ramp. Is he expecting units to come up the ramp? There's just the air units here from Hero. He has 2 real Phoenix. And what does he see? 3rd command center. Oh, actually eats a Widowmine shot. Takes some damage on his Phoenix. But a Widowmine doesn't kill a Phoenix in 1 hit, so that's not too big of a deal for him. But he sees a pretty late start for Stim. When you see the barracks landing on that tech lab, if we look at his vision, he had not even seen it land yet. It was still in the air. So that tells him very late Stim, very late bio follow-up. And if there is a transition that is made, it's going to take a little bit of time. So for Hero, that's okay, because he has his 3rd base coming in. He's got extra tech on the way in the form of a Twilight Council, his Forge, and he's already got a Robo Bay. Everybody loves the Robo Bay. So many Protoss players get that Robo Bay super fast, even if they don't end up needing it a crazy amount. But look at that extended thermal lance. This is a big one. Especially since I believe this was played recently enough that it's on the quote-unquote new patch. But if you haven't heard, they did accidentally patch Protoss almost back into relevancy with the Colossus buff this week. According to them, well, actually, we didn't get a statement from anybody. We don't know if it was an accident, intentional, what have you. But Colossus range got buffed. For better or worse, whether intended or otherwise, Colossus range is a better upgrade than it was a week ago. So, yeah, it's a very hard thing to explain, but they nerfed the Colossus a long time ago, which kind of made it an irrelevant unit since it's a little prone to being shut down by either Vipers or Ravens. It doesn't really have a natural defense for point-and-click abilities like that just kind of neutralize them, so they went to, what? 7 range, and then extended thermal lance was made to be +2 so that the Colossus would peak at 9 range, which is about the same as the Viking. But now the Colossus will actually peak at 10 range, fully upgraded. So when that thermal lance is done, we're going to see a 10 range Colossus here, and it's very real. There was no patch notes, there was no community feedback update. There was no balance whining from Nathanias about a Protoss being buffed, so that's how you know that things were definitely out of left field. Personally, I love it. Protoss players, you know, they're not. Sadly, we don't really let them sit at the lunch table with us, do we? As a community, we really don't. So, I think they still deserve to eat, though. I hope you'd agree. Hero, Adept, watching the center position. Stasis Ward watching the west position. He's got stasis wards and pylons. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is what I love to see. It's a ton of minerals. It's a ton of pylons. but he needs them anyway. They provide supply. It's not entirely useless. He's just putting them in strategically key locations so he doesn't get caught off guard. Now, this is still a big push from Future, but the Big Daddy Colossus is here with his 10 range, and that's a huge deal of how much more difficult it is to get the jump on them. Now, a Warp Prism counterattack from Hero with the Oracle getting into the third base mineral line, picks off 5 SCVs, 4 charge lots warped inside of his base. He's running them underneath the medevac, actually picks them up to save all of them. So he not only sets off the mines and then saves the Zealots, the Prism even gets out. That's pretty filthy. He was looking for the rest of the army. Hero brought the 2 Colossi, said, I'm just gonna eat up this Terran Bio Ball for breakfast. And instead he finds himself with, I don't know, maybe more of a brunch type situation. He wanted pancakes, but he got a turkey club. And he said, I came here for breakfast. And they said, well, you know, brunch crowd is a little bit more about mimosas and clubs. That's it. You know, you want a turkey club? We got it. You want a ham club? We're there. Roast beef club? Absolutely not. Get out. You're banned for life. But every other kind of club, they've got it. Roddy in the club, they've got it, etc. So Hero, everything has led up to this, right? He has a ton of Zealots. We saw the Zealot harass begin early on. You have the Big Daddy Colossus with the huge amount of range that can be a little better than usual. They are kind of close to the Marauders, but not going to be too much of an issue. Stalkers warped in inside the main base. And Future, this is what happens when you play a top Korean Protoss player. That is said, he still has a lot of supply, but the force fields on the ramp. Oh, I was gonna say he got out in front of the natural, but the main base ramp gets completely shut down. He hits a fat EMP, dead center of Hero's army. Now here's what I want to know: is Hero just gonna? Oh, he's just gonna keep warping in. All right, I was wondering if he was gonna recall or not. I'm like, is he gonna recall? Is he just gonna warp in again? Look at these Colossus. Look at it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm watching Colossi microwave dudes, and I have to tell you, that's a lot better. It's a lot better than I would typically. It's a lot better than I would typically say for that experience. That was very well done. Very well done. Let's go to game 2 and find out what happens next. This KSL, I was told there was some wild stuff that went down. So if you're wondering why we're watching this, why it matters, it's because I like good games of StarCraft, and now you have to deal with them too. Welcome to my life. Welcome to Purgatory. You've been captured by rebels. You're now being forced to watch StarCraft 2 until your body crystallizes into a, I don't know, some sort of arthropodic state where you can then evolve into a beautiful butterfly. But at least until that moment comes, you are trapped here enjoying StarCraft 2 with me. Welcome in the top left, leading the series 1-0. He is Dragon Kaizu Hero. I think that's the clan name, right? DKZ, Dragon Kaizu Gaming, right? If I got that wrong, just throw me back in jail. It's okay. In the bottom right, we have the blue Terran player. He is Future. And he is bringing a little slice of cheddar to the party. Someone would say, you know, bring meat sticks, cheese sticks for a little outdoor barbecue. He says, I'm bringing the whole wheel of cheese. And they told him that nobody wanted to sleep with the wheel in their tent. And obviously, if you leave a wheel of cheese out in a camping site, a bear will come for it in the night. So that means Future has a limited amount of time to get done what he wants before that big bear, known as Hero, arrives. And he's already looking for the proxy. He saw, hey, you don't have a base in your base. Something is missing here. You have 2 geysers and no barracks. And he's not Masa. So if this was Masa, just to be clear, if we were casting Masa, Nate, why are you looking at this dead space? It's because his barracks would be here. Masa would just build his own barracks here, and then he'd float it back into his main, and the probe would see it and probably block it from even flying back inside. That's just the kind of thing that happens to him. So Future's SCV will come up off the proxy. He sees Cybernetics Core at the ramp. There is a Zealot on the way. But most importantly, he sees the Nexus has just started. So he is up against a 1-base Protoss setup, because it is, again, gateway into core. So it's not going to be a delayed ability to get a Stalker or an Adept, like if he had gone for a gateway, then Nexus, then Cybercore. When that happens, the Reaper opening becomes a nightmare. Probe going for the Tase! Not going to get it. SCVs complete the Citizen's arrest. Who got the kill? Was it the 1 HP guy? 1 HP? Yeah, look at that. Absolutely no fear, ladies and gentlemen. No fear. A real hero. Beautiful. Now we look back at the probes as he does. Ooh, nice little shot to open the back door up so he can continue to just be annoying. I said that the cybernetics core was coming in at a time where it could be useful, but it still takes time and money to make an adapt, and this Reaper has been a thorn in the side of Hero. Not only did he wall off the front of his natural, so this cliff is always going to be exposed in the main, but these units are coming out in the natural as well, so he might even have to shade just to get to his own mineral line to push the Reaper down. All of this just adds up to make the game super painful. Future getting tons of damage. Another probe kill. What's the total? What's the total? Producer, where's the production team? 5, 6 pro. Oh, he's got another one in the main. He's trying to get a shield battery, but it's too late. If you told me that there was a chance that an American Terran player could defeat Hero, my hero, and I don't mean the abridged anime series, I mean literally, this is my hero right here. His name is Hero. If you told me he was going to lose to an NA Terran player building Reapers, I would say, oh yeah, proxy 2 or 3 racks, you get lucky, play cross server, ping. No, he proxied 1 barracks, and he just killed everything. So yeah, I literally don't even. This might have been played on US West. I'm not sure if the replay information actually saves the server. I think I loaded it from US West, so that's why it says that. Although I suppose the profile info probably says everything. So we've got Magfield as the follow-up. He has a command center to float down to the natural. He's building a Viking in case another warp prism shows up. And perhaps the most important thing is he's getting a second barracks. So when I see a Magfield early, it's the Cyclone upgrade. So this just increases the Cyclone's lock-on damage by 50%. That's it. That's it. Once upon a time, there were other stipulations to what this upgrade meant, but all you need to know is it's a 50% damage increase for Cyclones. That is it, by and large. It only affects the lock-on ability, not their regular attack, but honestly, who even uses the Typhoon missile pods? You probably didn't even know that that's what they were called. I don't know too much about Typhoons. I just know that a Typhoon is when it rains a tremendous amount for like days on end. That's the best of my knowledge. I used to think it meant a waterfall tornado. Shout out to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Not. Anyway, Warp Prism has a small force in the center of the map. A couple of extra stalkers are going to be warped in for Hero to try and make his next move. Now the real question becomes, since he is low tech and low economy, 36 probes with 37 SCVs, it's a very difficult position. He doesn't have blink. There is no easy way to engage the tanks. As a result, he could try to shade the adepts onto them, but even then they're still kind of tucked back. Is he just going to go for it? No, that would definitely not work. He has a Raven, so he can also, in a couple of seconds, will have enough energy to use that interference matrix. An interference matrix would completely shut it down too, because he can't load or unload the prism with that. And even these tanks are getting a little anxious. He doesn't want to get baited into shooting at himself with his friendly fire. Hero's trying to micro on 2 fronts, but the moment he loads those stalkers up into the prism, that's when you have to expect the interference matrix. He just drops an auto turret, so he's trying to buy time. He just wants time. He's continuing to get kind of beaten down, though. Now Hero recognizing, oh, your Viking and your Cyclone are both weak. Some bio units are going to try to come out and stop this attack, but he gets the Viking, pulls back into the prism, and he's going to continue to run away. Auto turret gets dropped, so he burns the energy on the Raven twice. Don't worry. There's just 2 observers hanging out. It's fine. They've been roommates since 95. Everybody knows that. Prism is going to be able to head back home. And Hero has recovered somewhat economically. I'm not going to pretend that he's in a good place, because there is no scenario where I would look at a Protoss at 46 to 44 SCVs and say that they're fine. Future, with mules, he should be pulling in a little bit more money. I think he's been slightly conservative due to the attacks that have been coming his way. So if we look at the income tab, we can see that it's not crazy. Hero has more of his workers, mining minerals, I guess. He hasn't completely... Well, he did take the gas in his natural. I don't know how his mineral income is higher. They both have a very similar number of workers per base, but maybe the mules just mined out one of those main base mineral patches, and he just has less to work with there. Either way, the third for Hero is tremendously late. By all measurements, Future has kneecapped him. He showed up with a baseball bat. He blindsided him. He sucker punched him. whatever you want to call it. He decided to launch a kryptonite arrow through his window before he even revealed that he was in this episode. Whatever. Raven, by the way, helps them pop the observer as that warp prism comes back, and he's gonna scan. He gets it. Very nicely done. There are a couple of charged zealots in the base, but there's not that many of them. There's really not that many zealots. He's gonna lose a marauder, it looks like, and then the widow. Oh, why not let the mine? Yeah, I don't know about that. I would have liked to just let the mine kill him. Looks like something died up here. He was trying to make another move forward with the rest of the army. Was that the Raven? Yeah, the Raven got sniped. May have also been hit by a feedback. It's a lot of bio cutting this base off, however. Hero does have Size Storm, but he did burn, I think, pretty much all of his ability to make use of that and then turn it into the Archon. So it's just a big bio ball against a Gateway army. And he used the overcharge. He used the overcharge on the third base. This is what makes it really, really difficult. He has to wait for the Templar to get the energy. We're still at about 55 apiece. Needs 20 more for Storm. And his Cybernetics Core, his Gateways are all under attack. He's trying to get the Widow Mines between the bases, preventing them from launching onto themselves. And if he gets onto those Templar, it is GG. They're at about, the energy is getting a little bit higher. I think they're close to that 65 mark. So there should be a Storm relatively soon. But these are the Gateways. This is the bread and butter of Hero's production. He didn't have as much in the main earlier. Everything was kind of focused around stopping the Reapers at the beginning, and that turned into a liability down the line. He can only warp in Zealots and High Templar. He's going to come in. There's the drop out of the Prism. Big storms onto both sections of the bio, but there's just no meat. Where is the meat? GG. Future ties the series up 1-1. That's amazing, because I did get a dummy replay. I did get a fake dummy replay of this to look at, so I was all like, great, grand, wonderful. I didn't even know if it was real. I had absolutely no clue, but it turns out it is real, and that makes me very happy, because I just assumed naturally that the Korean guy would obviously win against the American 2-1 or 2-0. I don't think anybody watching would disagree with me, by the way. I think even you, naysayer, who's saying to themselves quietly, I disagree, for no reason other than to disagree, I would say that that doesn't count, and then you still agree with me. So there you go. I no longer accept the positions of contrarians, because you don't really believe in it anyway, right? That's true, though. You don't. So here we are in game 3. It's tied up. In the bottom right, we have the red Protoss. Struggled a bit against that Praxia Riparino. He is Hero. He's my absolute favorite Protoss. I know that you're wondering why I picked this match to commentate, and the first reason was 2 players that I really like. Second reason was TVP, and then third reason was just Hero again. In the top left, we have the blue Terran player. He is Future. Sometimes I play some online games with a bunch of the NA dudes. I don't make enough time for them because my life is a little bit of a mess. But Future, I think I played against him. We do like 10 stacks. We get 10 people together that are basically all NA StarCraft Grandmasters, and we play League. The Future is like Masters ranked. He's very good. He spanked me. He spanked me silly the last time we scrimmed. It was bad. It was bad. That's the real reason I turned down their offers to play, because I'm horrible at League. And then they're like, let's get a stack going, and they all try hard, and like half of them are Diamond, and I'm like Masa's freaking Grandmaster at League, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good, guys. I don't know if I want to be the corgi in your purse. And then someone's like, well, corgis are a little big for purses, aren't they? And I'm like, thank you. Yes, exactly. You get it. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I don't want to be the corgi in the purse. The Future's got his Marine rallying around. He's just looking to see, am I getting proxied? Is there something here I have to worry about? If you know Hero, then you know that he has historically been a player that, especially when it matters the most, will bring out the craziest cheese, all-ins, what have you. Perhaps the most famous match that Hero ever played, and this is a bit of a stretch because he's played a lot of them, was a grand final best of 7 against SOS in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. So they had IEM Katowice, where ESL's basically crowned their own champion every year outside of just our traditional world champion. And this was in an older system of StarCraft esports. We don't really follow this anymore, as my league is gone. The WCS, that was a big one. And now everything just kind of falls under the ESL Pro Tour umbrella. So it's not surprising that since we don't have esports for StarCraft at BlizzCon anymore, that we have to have our global championship be a different event. So, but back then, that accolade was still worth quite a bit. I mean, Hero has played in so many amazing, high-level, intense series and across his career that make him just a deadly competitor. He was my favorite player on the Caster Civil War, where I picked him. I picked Hero for my team, and he was fantastic. He won so many series that people doubted him in, and that's why I love him, because he's scrappy. Hero represents everything that a Protoss player needs to be, which is not just good with the micro and the Protoss BS, but he has an understanding of how to play through games and strange situations. You know, when the train goes off the tracks, do you jump off and try to run for safety, or do you climb into the, you know, are you heading to the front and trying to fix that bad boy? You're trying to wrangle them back onto the tracks. I know that sounds dangerous and probably impossible, but hey, Hero will at least try and get that train back on the tracks. That's what I'm saying. All right, not everybody has the confidence, nay, the killer instinct to go for it. But what he is going to go for is this warp prism. So very fast robo as he gets Viking rushed. He builds a Viking out of the what? So he's going to land a Viking in the main and just start killing probes while he pushes the front with Hellions. So he gets 3 worker kills. And this is just so bizarre. The prism came over to try and save them. What? This doesn't get away, right? Just no hope. Nah, no. I mean, Vikings are made of paper mache. But the Hellions! Oh, probes lining up big time. 14 little robo probes microwaved and roasted and toasted. Okay, Hero has to be dead. I can't believe I'm going to say it. Is Future going to win this match? Guys, I did not know the result. I just assumed we were going to watch Hero play a bunch of games. Future's got a Liberator inside of his base now as well, so he has to keep some units at home instead of warp in on the battlefield. And I just don't know anymore. The second tank is almost out, but he has the prism. I feel like, yeah, unless he can snipe the tank right here, I just don't see it. Maybe he goes back around to the behind the mineral line. Here's one of the other interesting points. The starport is obviously not in his base, so he cannot make anything air-wise to deal with this. His Viking he tried to build and send home gets sniped. Great denial there from Hero. So he needs to kill a lot of SCVs though to even out the economic damage that he has sustained. He's at 35 probes to 42 SCVs. I would say that this is an unplayable position for the average Protoss, but Hero is not average by any definition of that word. The Liberator's finally killed, and he's going to be able to drop inside the natural. Careful, there is that siege tank. We can see there's only just a little lip here you could try to land on. Now, he might catch the starport, though. Even just getting this would still be nice. I don't think he can kill it because it's got a lot of health, and SCV should come over to save it, but take what you can get. Take what you can get. Take everything. What's in the prism? Just the immortal. Okay, so that could be an anti-tank neutralization option. The starport has been out of play, so no medevacs, no drops, no banshees, no battle cruisers. And you know when I say no battle cruisers, it really tears me up inside. So 2 of my least favorite words to put together. But with 2 immortals inside the prism, he can use the barrier and just drop directly on the tanks and try to take them out one by one. That is the correct way to do this. Gets 1. I would load it up. You don't want to take real damage on the immortals because you do plan on doing the same thing again. The stim is now exposed too. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. So all the Marines kind of have to be up there. He's just going to go for the siege tank. Hero, you psychopath. He's going for it. Gets the tank. Loses everything though. I mean, he loses everything. He lost the prism. He lost both immortals. He lost almost all the health of both of these stalkers. And we know that Protoss units cannot be repaired. All right, StarCraft is in the universe where John Deere won every lawsuit ever, so you just don't get to fix stuff. And now I do not know. I do not know what happens. I think Future is about to kill him. I think Hero is a 2-base Protoss versus a 2-base Terran, which is never good. He's down half the army supply. He does have Storm on the way, but it's halfway done, and he only has 1 Templar. So, okay, he has 1 in the main too. That's good. So when that Storm finishes, he'll have two ready. But oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's a cheek. There's my boy. There's my boy Hero. Building a little proxy in the corner. Taking the Ninja base. This observer gets scanned and popped though. So if you're Future, oh, come on, man. Really? You trying to ruin my fun here? You got the observer. You found the ninja base. Is Hero really not going to cancel it? He's got some time still. Oh, Zealots into the natural. Okay, a little warp in action. Hero finally gets the worker lead back for the first time in about 20 years and immediately loses it again. So that all gets shut down. Not very surprising. He's going to go for a regular third base. So if we talk about things that are going nicely, though, for Hero, he does have Storm. He researched it. He was able to get the energy on his Templar that he already had, and he added several more. So he did buy a lot of time. Things working against him. Future already has a Ghost Academy because he remembers the Templar, and he probably remembered last game, too. So he's going to dive in on the tank. Widow Mines are going to pop the Zealots. First Storm is going to go out onto the bio. Second Storm, third Storm comes out. Is it enough to clean it all up? Actually, yeah, just about. Almost. Barely not enough. Widow Mine kills the Archon. Immortal is super dead. I cannot fathom a universe where Hero turns this around. I'm just excited to see how much longer this game goes on, because I've mentally written him off. And I know for the hype of the cast, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't tell you that I've mentally written him off. But I'm really trying to get across just how bleak the situation looks, because he is a huge favorite, and this is not good. So I think we might be seeing a pretty big upset from Future. A huge upset. If Hero does not pull a rabbit out of his hat, he did get the third. That's the only positive left. There's already Ghosts out to deal with his Templar. He can't afford to go into the Colossus. There's no Robo Bay. So all he can really do is just warp in Zealots, Archons, High Templar, and try to avoid EMP, which is, well, I mean, any Protoss players watching probably began to laugh profusely when I said that. Avoiding EMP isn't exactly something that you do. It's worth pointing out, too, in this situation, Hero, he's only just getting that +1 attack, and it's not really that close either. Meanwhile, Future, he's got his +1 attack, he's +1 armor is finishing, and we are going to see him immediately go down to take this third as he moves out with a very large bio ball. He's got a, is this a 40-50 supply lead? Another couple Zealots are going to get eaten, and how on earth could you possibly hope to defeat this army? He's going to try and do some Storm drop, maybe feed back the Ghosts. I don't know. He EMPs the Prism. I just don't see how it gets. I don't see how it gets easier from this point on. He brings one Templar down the ramp. It does not even get to Storm. It just dies. He's gonna hit all the Marines coming up, and they are so low. But he just needs one more Storm in the middle of that, and I don't think he gets it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think he gets it. The bio is weak, but it is enough. This absolutely has to be the death of Hero. Immortal is gone. Archon tries to come and save things. Probes pulled off the line, and it's not gonna do it. Hero taps out, and Future wins? What? Well, it seems like we're gonna have some more great matches to watch in this series, or this tournament, huh? Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. None of you guys watched KSL last week, did you? Is this like the rise of the NA players? Or the NA, is NA StarCraft? Are we back? NA StarCraft 2, we back? It's my first time listening to you cast. It's a little bit harder doing it solo. I try really hard not to let you guys hear when I'm taking deep breaths, because like, for some of those things, if I don't take time to breathe, my body will start forcing me to yawn. So I'm always like, talk, 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 talk. That's kind of how you do it. So I'm trying to make sure that breathing stays good and even. So I don't just suck a big fat yawn back in the middle of the cast and make everybody fall asleep. Been putting in the work. It's been a while since I've done a lot of solo casting type stuff, but I don't get to do the big events, right? So we make do with what we have. That matchup was awesome. That looked to be earlier in the bracket too, so. Wow. 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 Okay. Let's take a look at one more match from the bracket, and then we'll look at the oh, actually I think there's like 2 or 3 more series here that look really, really good. All right, we've got Estrella versus Dark. I'm just gonna do it. It'll be the best PvZ cast because you know I love Estrella. I love my boy Estrella. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. I'm your host, Nathanias, and we have got a PvZ here for you. In the top left, we have the blue Protoss player, one of my absolute favorite American StarCraft 2 players of all time. Please give a warm round of applause for Estrella, representing that IMXL. Or is that Matcherino with like little side letters? It looks like the Matcherino logo, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it just does. It confuses me. His opponent in the bottom right, wearing what can only be described as a world champion portrait. We have the red Zerg player. He is Dark. Dark doesn't really need an introduction. He's absolutely one of the best Zerg players of all time. I think that maybe he lacks a big punch moment, a very big public punch moment that draws people to him as fans. But those who know the game respect him because he's very talented, he's very skilled. And when I think about players that I like and why I like them, I love crazies. I love people who do things that don't make any sense. People that push the envelope, you know? Not like anything in this game, of course. That's not what I'm talking about. Just kidding, just kidding. So Estrella is getting proxy hatched. Scotty doesn't know. Gateway finishes, still doesn't know. Probe at the wall to finish the wall. Still, oh, okay, now he knows. So now he knows. He's gonna have to think very carefully about this because while he will wall off, while he is gonna get this wall off done, because you can't ever be 100% sure when those lings are coming, and when I say that, I mean his probe is still inside of dark space, so he knows 100% when the lings are coming. You still are always nervous about this. And that's why, even though the cybernetics core would be like one of the worst things ever to lose, you still have to build it at the front here because you need your wall. You need to keep the Zerg out and then get wherever it is that you're trying to go to deal with it. So he sees that the spawning pool is done. The Roach Warren immediately begins for Dark. So that tells us could be Ravagers. Could just be a couple of Ravagers getting rushed out here. He is going to spend the larva on Zerglings, and I do find that interesting. He wants the Zealot to leave him alone. The Zealot kind of needs to hold the wall down so that Dark doesn't get inside of his base with the Lings. So he has to bring the Zealot home. I guess that's why you build the Lings. But I'm interested if he adds Roaches with these larvae. I guess he had time for the larva to grow back while the Roach one was building too, so... Just another great reminder of how much of a Zerg player Nathanias is. I'm really good at playing Zerg in that Saber mod, the custom one with the campaign units. I'm a great Zerg player there. Give me the Swarm Host that can deep tunnel anywhere in the map with creep. Yeah, that's a little more my speed. So the probe comes in, he sees the Roach Warren. So if he didn't know, now he knows. Is it going to be enough? Photon cannons can defend a lot of attacks like this, but if he goes into Ravagers, there's not really a good answer. He just has to pull everything and try to stop them from doing their poke until you die. And that's, of course, very difficult. He would love to get a cancel. Does deny one of the Ravagers. That's huge. A very, very, very big pickup. He's going to make 2 more now. But just that little bit of time, being able to buy yourself any time at all in this situation is huge. And in doing so, he's going to be able to get a couple more pylons up to reinforce the wall, realizing that one set of biles on this pylon would completely take away his defensive capabilities. He's relying on the shield battery to stop the Ravagers from getting close enough to try and bile down the wall. But eventually it's going to start to rain. Yeah, he's going to start putting them in between. He's going to try and have it hit that cyber core, because killing that is huge. And now he's got the speed links. He was trying to keep Estrella out of his base, And Estrella retreats back into his wall and he just taps out. Okay. Okay, so Estrella with the dominant game 1 hold. Looking good, looking absolutely fine. And we're gonna get into game 2 real quick. What a start to this series, huh? Yeah, Firefox in the chat is like, lol, what? I know, I'm thinking the same thing. Where's my Kerrigan voice? Thinking the same thing. I didn't expect him to immediately tap out, but I guess because he was on 1 base and just had the proxy forward hatch, he didn't think it was possible to build enough to knock the wall down. I feel like sometimes we just expect those Ravagers to keep raining down the biles forever. But I guess he just didn't have the economy, especially after he made the like 20 or so Speedling follow-up and got Ling speed at all. For some reason, I didn't even register in my mind that that's what he was going to do. But Dark kind of taps out quickly, and we have Estrella with a 1-0 lead. Nate updating the scoreboard a minute into the game, like a boss. I think I've seen Wardy update his scoreboard 8 minutes into a game before, so you guys have to tell him. You guys have to tell him that, yeah, how you feel. Okay, tell him that I said hi and that you love him too. By the way, Wardy's a good guy. He deserves a little love every now and again. So Estrella puts the gateway at the front. We know that Estrella is a player who loves to be greedy. Estrella was one of the first Protoss players on the world stage, and it feels like it's saying a lot, because it kind of is, but he was one of the first Protoss players to really push the expand in PvP, especially on the maps where we had those very defensible ramps leading into the natural. You can't really do the same kinds of builds, I think, as easily here. Like on Grezvon, you just have this huge opening, right? There's so much space. So that space control typically becomes a problem for Protoss. They can't force the Zerg to engage them in choke points quite as much. So how does that factor into what Estrella will do this game? I don't know. For openers, we're familiar with a lot of options for PvZ. Estrella does not always go for the most standard build though. Like I said, he was one of the, he's kind of a memer in a way. He develops builds, he kind of pushes the meta forward. He can play the meta, but Estrella is not a player that I would describe as like standard, because he certainly plays with his own little flair and style and does a lot of little things that I try to point out throughout the series. I thought the way he handled the cheese in the first game was really well done. It seems like the kind of situation where it would be easy to panic. Look at that pylon. Canceled it still too. Gets the 75 minerals back. Just delays the hatch. Just delay that hatch as much as possible. And now into a Stargate for Estrella. My favorite thing about Stargate openers in PvZ, some people will go with like one Phoenix or one Oracle into the other. Right? You see one Phoenix, one Oracle, or one Oracle, one Phoenix. Plenty of people do that. You get an Oracle to harass and kind of scout, and then you get a Phoenix to fly around, and then eventually just turn around and come home. It's not that big a deal. One Phoenix doesn't do too much. Maybe a little Overlord hunting. Sometimes it's a safety Void Ray. But some players go for multiple Oracle as well, which has been popularized over the years by quite a few players. There was, I think, one end of year run we had where, I don't know if it was Stats kind of popularized the 3 Oracle opening, but Hero was big on it as well, and we're seeing that out of Estrella now too. So the downside of sending the Oracle directly across the map, the third base can get shut down by Speedlings. Dark, he was ready for it. Not only does he hold on, but the Oracle takes all of its shields away, and does not manage to get any kills, and he gets the cancel on Estrella's third. So in that world, you almost wish that you just had left the Oracle at home, because if it kills the Lings and protects your third base and you're able to get the Nexus up, then things aren't so bad.
But this is what I mean, is Dark is kind of a scrappy guy, so he says, you're going to try and hold me back, you're going to try and limit my economy. I'm not really worried about that. I'm still going to be able to deal damage to you, and then you're going to have to play on the defensive. Now, this game is still interesting because we have 2 oracles, like we talked about, and a 3rd is on the way. One of these oracles, very low, 16 health. Gets 6 drones, though. 6 drones for all the health and energy of the oracles. I don't know. Neither of these units will ever have 100 hit points again, so it's hard to say that it was a good trade. If the oracles stay alive somehow for the rest of the game and do scouting and revelation and stasis, then I think it's a very good trade. But if these oracles die in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I will be mildly disappointed in you, Estrella. Not because I hate you, because I love you. Estrella gang for life. I'm not biased at all. Absolutely not. Everybody knows that. Dark's Queens get a good defense. Notice he's got the extractors, but he waited until he had mineral saturation before he actually took the gas. He wants to keep that economy ramping up. He's got 11 drones finishing and +1 melee with his lair finishing in about 15 seconds. So for Dark, he's gotten through the phase of the game where he defends, build up the economy, and what we're about to see is him transition to whatever it is that he actually wants to do this game. Because Estrella, he wants to attack again at some point, but he's got a big wall off he's setting up around to protect the 3rd base mineral line from Baneling run-bys. But what we should typically expect in this matchup is that the Zerg player will go for a quick Baneling nest and +2 once the lair is done. +2 Banelings, it's kind of like a meme. But Dark, he doesn't really follow what everybody says. Even though we know the Lings can be really good, and even though he's going to get the upgrades for them, he's not thinking about Banelings, which I find mildly interesting, because we know that Banelings against probes are amazing. Instead, he wants his evolution chamber, his Hydra den, and an infestation pit. So maybe he just goes right to Hive, and it's like a big Ling Hydra lurker. I literally don't even. I am a prime number. I cannot even. Adepts going to the north side. The oracles that we discussed earlier are making their way back into the game. So this is the question: is can he use these without them instantly dying? If you can't use them without them instantly dying, then they are as good as dead. That's kind of my point as we circle back to this issue. 2 more oracles in the bottom though, so that's the fun part. Is he didn't even stop at 3. Even the caster didn't notice. He's got 4 oracles, so he can double prong from 2 different directions at once. Some people think Poseidon's trident is really cool because it has basically 3 spears on one. And then I say, why not just have 3 single spears so that you can throw them or dual wield? But turns out Aquaman's just not that smart. Immortal kind of getting stuck behind the door, but at the same time, he's not really trying to move out yet either. The oracles give you safe agency to scout on the field, see what is happening, and trying to get stuff done, but they don't really give you any kill pressure. Once upon a time they did. Back in the day, some people would they go like double or triple Stargate, and make like 10, 15 oracles. It was kind of like going Mass Banshee versus Zerg. If your opponent just did not make a bunch of anti-air or Aspire, you win. But even if they made like Queens or Spores, eventually enough oracles will just kill everything. They can be really devastating. So Estrella, sitting pretty up 1-0 in this best of 3, is looking to secure an additional lead as Dark brings a huge swath of Ling Roach over to him. He had vision, of course, from the revelation on the Oracle, so he knew that they were there. He's going to drop a storm that tickles the Zealots a little bit. Oracles come back for another revelation. It looks like one of the weak ones died. But this guy, he's getting some kills. He was able to get a scan. Okay, so there you go. Now I believe it was worth saving the Oracle. Now I feel like it wasn't the end of the world. Let's pretend the other low health Oracle never existed, and then this will seem much better. Dark, look at this. Oh no. Overseer giving vision. What's he building back home? Nordis. And that is not going to be an easy thing for him to deal with. So Dark, he's got the roaches, he's got the Lings. He's going to be looking to put a huge amount of pressure on the 4th base to draw everything here for a last stand defense. while he tunnels deep inside of his base. Don't show it. Don't show it. What do you... No, you've got space. He can't see it. If you morphed it here... Oh, he's going to build pylons now. Dark. Why would you send in the changeling like... Just start the Nidus. Start the Nidus. Start the worm. It's Nidus time. Nope. Womp, 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 womp. Yeah, you're not stopping the 5th base either. He's got some lings and roaches here. I guess we're not going to see a Nidus worm in this game. Why would you drop the changeling when you already had the edge of his base with no vision? Big zealot warp in from Estrella. So he's just largely size storm, immortal, and charge lot. And it's a very powerful army. Not a tremendous amount of anti-air as the zealots get caught. Now he's going to summon the Nidus worm. But see, there you go. There's the recall. He's pulling everything back inside. He recalled the immortals. I guess if he doesn't shut it down, the lurkers come up on the 3rd base. Okay, maybe things are getting a little bit dicey. Pylon goes down. A bunch of the gateways are removed. The worm finished, but he's going to restart it immediately over in that 3rd base. So I'm thinking this becomes like the Heimdall. He's going to Bifrost via the Nidus worm to get his lurkers home, or even reposition them to the north side. A huge link attack on the northwest as well. So Dark suddenly with the +2 lings, he says, I don't need those +2 Banes. I just need the Zerglings. And he's going to rip and tear through not only this 3rd base, not only this 4th base, not only this 5th base, but he's still got vision on the main. Eventually could go for another attack. There is no saving the 3rd here. The Robo facility is also under siege by these lurkers, as they're going to continue to crawl their way forward. There's the Revelation. Has full vision of all of them. Now, Immortals are spread out, so I think they should be able to deal with that. And then he says, okay, get in the worm. And we rotate. We just keep rotating it. It's like a crank in a Resident Evil game. You just turn it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter when. Just keep turning it. If they give you an option to keep turning the crank, you keep turning it. If you only turn it once in the underground tunnel area, a boulder will run you over. Okay, pro tips. The Size Storm to catch the lings on the way in, but the army is just so small. Rest of it is coming up on the way from that 5th base for Estrella. Now the lurkers on the bottom of the ramp are waiting to zone this field out, but we do have carriers arriving. I mean, 1 carrier. It's got 4 interceptors. Not much to be afraid of yet, but eventually, with time, it can become something worth fearing. Dark is so good at launching several attacks at once. I could not agree more, Mr. Jamai. That's why even though you guys know I'm a dirty Terran player and I'm just a big Terran fanboy and blah blah blah, only care about Terran, whatever typecast I am supposed to have in this lore, I love some good PvZ. When you get Dark, when you get Estrella, when you get guys like Hero, Cyril, Raynor, you just get some beautiful games. Really, really top quality stuff. And this is a bit of a mess, but this is exactly the kind of mess that I was hoping for when I saw these 2 players' names on this matchup. I'm like, you telling me Estrella played a full series against Dark? What do you mean, Nathan? Full series? Are you spoiling the result of this game? No, I have dummy replays. I literally don't know. So after I mentioned it last week, they made sure of it. So I was very happy. Here's the lurker coming in on the top side. 4 more are going to be added, so he can hit him with some lings and lurkers on the north of the 5th base, and then he is going to summon another Nidus into the main directly. Are the carriers going to respond in time? It looks like the answer is no, but he has not tried to unload in the main yet. So I was like, is he just going to unload a bunch of stuff now? No, the worm was mostly for his attention. So the carriers are just going to be chasing Nidus worms now instead of joining the army. And all the Banes, but there's no... Come on now. Honestly. Who does a run by with slow Banes? Where's my Austin Powers soundboard? Honestly. I mean, who really? Who does a slow Bane run by? Are you kidding me? The carriers are still just hiding in the main too. They can't really join the fight because he's terrified of getting Nidus in his back door. I mean, yeah, if you're not ready for it, that can be a lot. We've got carriers and immortals fighting vipers, lurkers, and hydras. Oh my. Oh, there's the yoink. It's going to grab 1 carrier, pulling it in, and it's not able to get away. He tried. You see that viper tongue was trying to attach to nothing. Talk about a hungry boy. He pulls back the Archon, and now he has the hydras set up on the low ground with these lurkers as well. So completely denying him the opportunity to try and mine from that base. He has all the lurker upgrades. They are full-fledged monstrosities. 9 lurkers in this position. He's going to try and spread out and break it. There's the storm over center mass. All the while this is happening, and Nidus does start up in the main base. Estrella's army is starting to be beaten back. The interceptors are dead. Nidus storm is about to finish, but one carrier was left behind to deal with it. There is the storm on the low ground once more. Takes a couple of storms to get through lurkers, though. Psystorm, if you take the full damage of Psystorm, if you take a bath in it, it's 80 damage, which is enough to kill like Marines, Reapers, Lings, probes, Banelings. I mean, most units can tank a little bit of a Psystorm, but lurkers have 200 health, so it takes 3 full storms to kill them. So GG is called. Dark ties things up. And when I say 3 full storms, of course, I am implying that regardless of how much of that final storm is needed to kill a unit, to kill the lurker, you still need to use that 3rd storm in order, you know. If you just storm all the lurkers twice, they survive with like 40 health. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Something to be mindful of. All right, let's just get into game 3. Been a heck of a series, I think, anyway. In the bottom left, we have tied up in this series. Looks like the American players really took it to the Koreans this week. We have the blue Protoss player. He is Estrella. You may also know him by his famous name on the internet is Max Angel. I mean, his name is just so badass. I don't know how he didn't get a recurring lead role on like Lucifer or something. Just having that character there. What are you saying? Actors use fake names? No, I don't believe that. No. Everybody knows it's easier to get cast. Like, do you seriously think there was less of a chance of Tom Holland getting the Spider-Man role if he didn't legally change his name to Peter Parker? I assume that's what he did. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know there's not a lot of Nathan Fabricants out there. I deliberately picked a name nobody had because I'm just a freak, right? I thought that's how everybody does it. So he gets the natural block off. This is a pretty standard thing that happens if you're watching and you're like, why doesn't he just take his regular base? Most Protoss players send that early probe across at the beginning just to mess with the Zerg. Even if Zerg players are used to having to take the 3rd, even if they're totally fine with this and they're familiar with being in this position, they still don't like it. You know? It's like, oh yeah, you just open gas first and then Reapers can never kill you. People love to tell me that. And I'm like, maybe you haven't considered that opening gas first every TVT is not what I want to do. Once upon a time, back when we had maps like Shakuris Plateau, you could open gasless and then you would go into combat shield marine push and like nothing actually beat it. It was amazing. It was one of my favorite metas ever. People didn't rush stim. It was one of the few periods of time of great peace on Earth, I think they called it. The time before Stim Rush became every game. As you know, it is very important for me to get my Terran propaganda in while I'm commentating matches that don't have Terrans in them. Thank you Terran conglomerate. I hope that check clears. Otherwise, I'm gonna go back in time and cast this game normally like I probably should have. Robotics facility in Estrella's main base. This is the first big switch up. We see a lot of stuff like this in PvT a little bit, right? The robo openers, but you don't see them as much versus Zerg. If you're going for a big attack, it can be good, but everybody typically goes for that Stargate opening because map control, keeping units at home. Now 2 Lings make it in, and I think this is a bit unfortunate for Dark, or excuse me, unfortunate for Estrella, if Dark gets up the ramp. So he doesn't get to see the robo. That is nice. You see the chrono boosted Stalker out though. I think the Overlord should be able to make it to the free parking here. Once you get on top of this center hex with the flyer indicator in that little square, you're just invisible now. So this is for Dark to be able to get to see whenever this gas gets taken. So that's kind of the indicator for the Zerg player. If the Protoss never takes this gas, if he never sees him take it, then up until that moment, it's possible that he's going for a 3rd pretty quickly, or he's doing like a big gateway-based attack that's mostly Zealots, since he wouldn't have the Vespene to do like a mass stalker or something off of just off of just the geysers in his main, if that makes sense. So he has the Lings patrolling out front. The Overlord can see if he goes to this right side base, right? So he has good map awareness, good map vision. The Observer was not sent over to give the high ground for the Stalker to get that kill. He has the Stalker patrolling in his main to deny vision. So what he wants to do is just get the Observer over here and just see what's going on. On this third base that he was forced to take first, it's just drones and queens. He goes to the natural. He sees, okay, he did eventually take that. But what's in his base? What's actually happening? Roaches. We've got 3 of them coming in. Some Lings, some Speedlings. So even though he saturated that fully, I mean, 18 drones, he's got 2 more than the, what is it, the Poindexter optimal number is. Although, if you ask me, I think 18 workers on the base is actually better than 16 for a lot of reasons. Maybe not so much. Well, you know, if you play Zerg, you kind of have to replace the drones there, right? So having 1 or 2 extra at all times would probably be... Really just depends on whether you fantasize about playing like a machine or not. So the Prism doesn't end up getting to do too much. We've kind of recognized, we've determined here that Estrella is the one being attacked, even though he wanted to go for his crazy robo opener. I like it though. With the Prism and the Disruptors, if he micros well, this should be pretty easy to win against. Like, Estrella is somebody that I respect highly in terms of his ability and unit control. So if Dark isn't teching up and droning, okay, that's what he's starting to do now. I think Dark was deciding his next move based on whether there was a third base. But he sees that Estrella is still on 2 bases. This Prism with the 2 Adepts is still being annoying. He's got the ability to go for Warp Prism speed since he has the Robo Bay if he wants. Let's not forget he's on double Robo all the way across the sky. So this is the opportunity for him to turn it all around. A couple of Disruptor hits completely change the way that this game is going. And he's going to take his first swing, get 6 drones and some Zerglings. Very nice. The Prism is still alive. Both Disruptors are alive. One of them perhaps mortally wounded. 3 Overlords chilling over there. And the Adepts are just hanging out at Rob's guns. Because I only buy my weapons from places where I have couches and umbrellas on their side. Personally, that's what it's all about for me. Wait, is that Horner? Well, that's Valerian right there. Beautiful, beautiful. Lings are going to go right underneath this Prism that has 2 more Disruptors in it. So wait, hang on. The Adepts come back into this base. He gets 3 more drones. This just turned into the Krusty Jugglers episode. He's juggling on the right. Now he's juggling on the left. Can he get the Ravagers? 1 Disruptor almost gets killed. Those Novas don't do too much. But here's the problem, Estrella. You're on 2 bases. He's on 2 bases. He doesn't have that much money. And I think that this follow-up makes tremendous sense. Makes tremendous sense. Because the Spire can shut down the Prisms with ease. Robotics facility units, not very good against mutas. There's the recall on those 2, which means there's no way out for this army if they get caught or overextend. So for Estrella, this becomes all or nothing. My expectation is that Dark will try to hold this and then just go into nothing but mutas, because I don't think there's any answer. There's no Stargate, there's no Blink. The Lings are going for the counterattack, so he's going to be forced to burn 3 Warpins. 3 Warpins at home to defend this pylon. And even though we joked about the Colossus getting the extended range buff this week, he didn't research Colossus range. So he's going to start a Colossus and an Immortal, but he has no range. And he, again, 2 big robo units that shoot down, but not up. Where is my mind? What do you guys think? Huh? Do you see what's on the screen? Do you see the Spire? Do you see all the eggs? Huh? Yeah? I do not know. I do not know what Estrella does here. The wall is getting whacked away at. The first Muta has reared its ugly head. His army is not small, but he doesn't have the he just doesn't have the economy. I guess catching everything here from Dark, fighting him completely split up works. The Muta at the front didn't do too much. He's kind of realizing that this is like an all-in-esque army out of him. It's like an all-in-esque army. Estrella does not have a follow-up to this. He doesn't have the blink like we talked about, but maybe the issue is that there's just not enough mutas. Or does he send the mutas across or just go for the full-on base trade? I don't know. He sees that the army is just here right outside the front of his base, so the only move, I think, yeah, is he's just got to try and force a base trade. He's going to break open the overcharged battery. The rest of the ground army is going to go for the cyber core. And he just needs to keep his lings away from the Colossus while the mutas get in there. And now he's going to get everything on top. So that is going to get blown up. The Spire is dead. The lair was in the natural, so that's also dead. What does he do here? Keep everything by this third base. Try to expand. He's got some drones sitting over by the gold. Let's examine the base trade situation as it is. There is no energy for a recall in the main. There is energy and cooldown for a recall in the natural, but he's not really ready to do that yet. So the main is going to get blown up. The natural will get blown up. No recall is going to be used. And this just turns into chasing down Dark, trying to build random hatcheries on the map. I don't think there's much else he can do. There's one by the gold. Now he spreads the drones out, and it's just a straight up race. Kill the other guy's buildings as fast as possible. Did you guys think this series was going to end in a base race? Am I the only person that was surprised by this? Because this got crazy. This got absolutely ludicrous very quickly. I'm just like, damn. What an absolutely ridiculous matchup. So Estrella is being revealed. So Dark can see that these are his last buildings. He knows he's given vision of them by the powers that be. And he sees, oh, you've started a new one. So he's taken his whole entire army and he says, you want to do this weird base trade where you build across the map? Fine. I'm just going to make my own base because I think that the game is over if I just rebuild at all. And he's not wrong. He has money to build pylons, but there's also a gold base here for Dark. So there's a lot of mutas too. Wait, yeah, he's got 17 mutalisks. Yeah, I don't know. I actually think he could slowly trade against the Stalkers. If he could just like dive in with all of them, shoot down one and then move back a little. I don't even think it's that impossible for him. Right? I mean, the mutas don't have upgrades, but it's just Stalker versus muta. And Stalkers are not that good against mutalisks. I think in this defensive position they can be enough, but I don't think it's so clear-cut anymore for Estrella. And the fact that their bases are just here. I love that his other base is in the bottom right corner, though. He's already like, okay, if you ever kill the gold base, you're going to have to run everything back the other way. Because he sees disruptor drops come in. He did whiffs on both. Great dodge by Dark. And we just, I don't even know what to say anymore. This is the game. There you go. You can see there's his base, there's his base, there's his base, there's his base. They are the only bases. They're right next to one another. So he's going to deny the gold. This to me, not very surprising. This is when you look to see the mutas go in on the third base, I think. You want to bring those mutas in. This is where you want the mutas. You want them to live right here. You want the mutas to live right here, outside the range of the observer. And then when you go up and try to deny this base, then he just rolls up with everything. So the reason why the mutas can't catch the prism, though, is because he did get gravitic drive, which is an upgrade that allows warp prisms to move hella fast. See, there you go. He gets one stalker, pulls back, let the regen happen. Just don't let a muta die. And just carve at him, piece by piece. The stalkers are split. I say just go for it. Just YOLO. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I'm being a little presumptuous, but it doesn't get much more dumpster fiery than what this game is becoming, and it's beautiful. I'm loving it, but holy crap, what the hell is going on? He takes the minerals, he moves to the side, he doesn't want them to get picked by the drones. The mutas are still just kind of chilling over here. He's rebuilding the southeast base. And somehow, someway, the supply is still even. Ah! Did he never get Blink? No, he never got Blink. That's what made this game so crazy. Estrella opened this game with a robo. Like, he rushed 2 warp prisms, both double disruptor dropping. Like, no cap. Just an absolutely ridiculous build. So he had 2 prisms with 2 disruptors each, harassing on opposite corners of the map. And he was only on 2 bases. And then Dark was just like, all right, F this, man. I'm going full base trade the moment you step out. Because he had this huge army. he has this huge army with no upgrades. So he's just got a big army, but he doesn't have any upgrades for it at all. And that's putting him into a weird spot. Because I think if he had Blink or +1, it gets a lot easier. But it's pretty much just turned into, oh, does he catch him here? Does he catch him here? Dun, 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 dun. War Prism dies. No more disruptors or French fries. Beautiful. I had to change the lyrics so the YouTube police don't break down my door. I'm sure you guys understand. So the Lings are going to counterattack now that he made the mistake of leaving his base for 3 seconds. The Stalkers are all back there, and he gets a light nibbling on the Colossus. The Immortals get caught, however, by the Ling Roach. That's very nice. Because he's splitting opposite ends of the map. I love. He's just. I'm gonna need a break after this match. I'm gonna need a second to catch my breath because I didn't think that the 2 matches we were gonna start today with would turn into crazy bangers. I'm like, oh, American versus Korean. This should be a fun 2-0 to warm up my pipes. Nope. Now I'm over here. Trying to get a handsome bald man to come fix them for me because I'm losing it, man. Gonna lose my voice, just freaking out over this endless base trade of a match. So Dark, every time that he gets a little bit of money, Estrella is trying to move out and deny that income. And then every time that Estrella tries to move out and deny that income, as long as he thinks that he's chasing the mutas, he sends everything back around towards the other base. But here's the problem. He already used his recall now. The Lings are on the Nexus. The mutas have found the Colossus. They found a disruptor. And this is what I meant. The Stalker count on its own is actually not that high. So the fact that Dark is going to be able to start adding Lings again, the fact that he got rid of the Immortals makes the Roaches a little more relevant. I think the Roaches are all dead, though. Yeah, they all did die in that last fight, so they sang their swan song. But mutas, that's like their thing. They heal really, really quickly. They regen health much faster than all the other Zerg units. So if you don't kill them, they always come back. Poor Estrella. So he actually can't play anymore, right? Based on what I'm seeing here. He has no probes. Estrella has no probes. He does have minerals for a base. He could make a Nexus, but he can't because he's supply blocked. So he has no ability to make anything anymore. Now he is truly out of the game in that sense. All he can do is try to kill all the buildings. But I think that Dark has successfully turned this around. I think we're there. I think we're there. I don't know. He's being revealed again. The Hive Cluster is under attack again for the 5 millionth time. So Estrella's like, okay, maybe I can kill this. I got the pool. I go for this hatch. No, the mutas are like, this is nowhere near enough Stalkers for us to need to be concerned. Mop them up, rack them up, head them on, move them out. Got them. That's got to be GG, right? Estrella's going to stay in it and try to hold on one more time. Are we at the part where he can just make a bunch of Zealots, a bunch of Lings and A-move them? I feel like we're getting there. Slowly but surely. It's 12 Stalkers versus 14 mutas and 24 Lings. There is 1 Colossus. So the Colossus is basically the only thing keeping this game from ending. Because I think if all the Lings with the mutas could dive the Stalkers, I think he wins. I think Dark wins that fight. But he needs his Zerglings to not fight the Colossus, because the Colossus will kill them. So this right here is where the game ends. He's gonna finally get this Colossus. He's gonna get this kill. And then just bring everything. Just bring it all. Bring the kitchen sink. Bring your wife's new boyfriend. And your dad's new boyfriend, too, while you're at it. GG Dark takes the 2-1 in a hell of a base trade. Oh my god, that was... wow. I'm like, guys, I'm super excited. I got these replays to cast today, and then... I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll just start with some of the open bracket matches. I'm not going to start with the semifinals like I did last week because some of these actually look like they're decent. And then they end up being a lot more decent that just turns into an unfettered nightmare of two crazy matchups back to back. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 minutes. I'm gonna take 2 minutes, guys, okay? I'm gonna be right back, and then I actually have more games to cast. I'm kind of excited about this. We're gonna have uploads for like the next 2 weeks off of today, so that's great. That is great. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you. I will return in a few short moments. All right, I'm back, everybody. Hello, hello. It's me, your boy. Okay. Oh boy. We've got one more bracket match that I think would be really fun to do. Got one more bracket match I think would be fun. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. I'm Nathanias, and we've got our last bracket match that we'll be covering for this week's festivities. In the bottom right, we have the man who had a tremendous upset against one of the best players, one of the absolute best players. I don't even really understand how it happened. But in the bottom right, he is Future. Yo, Vlad. Yo, Stepmom. What's up? There are people in the chat, all right? If you're watching this, even if you're just watching the VOD of this, no, you wouldn't see that chat. That was on the live stream chat. Anyway, his opponent in the top left, we have Demaga. So the way that this bracket shook out was just crazy. Like, legitimately insane. So Future defeated Dark. We had Estrella with an absolutely bonkers series against that last match. My brain just completely melted down. Like, it was just gone. I couldn't even think anymore. Like, it was bad. It was just terrible. I completely lost all ability to even be aware of what was happening. So I'm just glad to be here. That last series was just nuts. But Future having a hell of a run. Playing with some lag, playing with some craziness. No, that was just absolutely wild. So Future ends up having himself a hell of a series against, I think it was Hero. He won against Hero. And that's a tremendous upset in my opinion. Of course, Estrella and Dark just went all the way to the end. They pushed each other to the limit. Although Dark was able to take that series, I do have to say, Future defeating Hero feels pretty good. And Demaga, if you're not familiar, he's a fantastic player himself. I know that he's been a little bit more on the content creation side these days, to the best of my knowledge. But he is still a formidable opponent, a European Zerg player. He's been competing since the earliest days of StarCraft 2. So it's actually a Europe versus NA match in the Korean Starleague. I know what you're thinking. Nate, how is that possible? Is it not illegal? Is it not illegal? Well, they say if you're willing to play with the latency, anybody can sign up, because we want the tournament to be as good as it can be. So shout out to the KSL, first of all. Because Future, he may have beat Hero, but he did it with 200 ping, right? Or whatever. He may not have fiber internet like me, so maybe he's got like 300 ping. I don't know. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just trying to relate. Playing with latency is not fun, no matter what game it is. I think we can all agree. You'd have to be a real freak if you're like, I actually don't like StarCraft with no ping. It actually feels better. It actually feels better with delay. I route my own internet through 7 modems before it goes to my ISP so that I can have the most delay. And I'm like, I don't know what you're on, bro, but you should probably seek help. But that person, that hypothetical we just created for the point of making a point, I don't think that person's real. So Reaper is going to come into Demaga's base. Not much to see there. If we know, based on Future's performance in the past and what we've seen out of him today already, we know that he can be aggressive. We've seen the proxy racks. We've seen the Reapers. It shouldn't have worked, but it did anyway, which maybe that says everything. Maybe I need to open my mind. I need to be a little bit more... The Terran players have gotten more creative recently. That's what I'll say. Terran players have gotten more creative. It took a really long time. I was starting to get bored of professional Terrans. And I actually do mean that, because you just didn't really see them ever try new stuff. It's always the same builds. It's like, your husband takes you to Macy's and he wants to buy you that same perfume that he bought you the last 10 times you were there. And you have that, you're happy that he remembers and that he cares, but deep down, you know that he's never spent 2 seconds thinking about something else he could get you, or trying something new, or being fun or spontaneous. That remembrance of the original one that you liked is mostly so that he never has to put that effort in again. And it's not something that you lose sleep over, but occasionally you become fully sober in that moment and recognizing that. And I understand. I understand that as a Terran player. That's what we've dealt with as these Hellions get completely surrounded and ripped to pieces. Ouchie wawa. Sorry, just you know, I feel like I was just looking into somebody else's life there as I channeled that one. So had to come back to reality. Listening to Nate cast on his own channel. What decade is this? I know. We back. All right. Look, Nathanias had to have the arc where he flamed out. That was important. I had to have the arc where I got my stuff together. I got my mental health sorted out. Fell in love with the best person ever. You know, there are a lot of things that happen in an anime before the character gets to go be a BAMF again. And I am ready. I am ready to get back to the being a BAMF again stage. That means putting in the work. I've been studying. I've been watching all these other jabronis out there putting their YouTube videos out. I've been studying them like a hawk. Did you guys know that a hawk or an eagle that you would find out in like the American wilderness, those bad boys can see mice running in grass from like hundreds of feet up in the air? Their eyeballs are crazy. They got like telescopes for eyes. Did you even know that? That's fascinating to me. That's amazing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm flying like a hawk. I'm surveying the land. I'm trying to see everything that's going on. And frankly speaking, I know there are some things that y'all have always enjoyed that I haven't always had time to do or wasn't easy to get into a flow for. And I'm trying to do more of those things, like casting here. Since I don't get to do it in real tournaments, I don't really have to worry about my voice. The esports winter is upon us, so I have not really had many shows at all, whether StarCraft related or otherwise. But I like casting. I mean, I'm doing this here right now for a reason, and it is mostly because I don't have anything else to cast, and I want to cast. So here I am. Here I am. And it's a damn good game, isn't it? Today's games overall have been nuts. This KSL has been one of the most interesting ones ever, and I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen it end on base trades before. You know, like that's not even new. It's not even new for me. I like that the players are using their own colors for this though. So Demaga in the yellow, getting to show off his flare. The big Ling run by SCVs. Not all dying, but they did have to retreat to the natural, so mining time goes down, and that's a bit of a dub. Demaga doesn't have creep connecting these bases or on the perimeter of his main, so the slow banelings, they're just never gonna connect. This is a huge attack from Future. Oh, he's got the tanks on the low ground. Oh, popped all the banelings. Yeah, it's way cooler when I just like hide stuff, right? Totally wasn't on accident because I got wrapped up in that speech about falling out of love or something. There's the pickup, 7 Marines into the medevac, and the other 2 bases are both doing just fine. There was that little bit of harass coming on this side. The 4 Queens are still holding the northeast expansion down. That's what I'm talking about. The Baneling speed has finished, by the way. The spawning pool died, so he hasn't actually been able to make lings for a little while. Demaga is sitting on 2,000 minerals. That being said, he also already has a lot of lings. He has 41 on the map. So he's like in this temporary twilight zone where he couldn't make anything, but also had a lot. But you're like still nervous, you know? If your car's engine turns off while you're driving 100 miles an hour, it's not like you're like, oh yeah, I just got to slow down. It's like, well, you're trying to still get somewhere, aren't you? Like, are you in a place where you can just stop, right? What's around you, etc. You gotta really think about the situation that you're in. There's no obvious answer. Did have a tank with this. The focus fire on the banelings by Future has been incredible. So many banelings target fired in this series so far, and we're on the first game, so God knows where we're going from here. It's a really good micro from Future today, and that was how he beat Hero too. This Hero, he beat CJ Entis Hero earlier. There's the counter attack, another double drop on the natural. Queens are dead, drones are getting pulverized. The Lings and Banes are on the way back, but they were all the way in the corner of the map chasing the other medevac. This is what I'm talking about. Free parking. He just never killed this Overlord. This is unrelated to anything I've been mentioning, but I just want to let you all know that Future, please kill the Overlord, because even though you can probably still win this game, it bothers me. And my personal being miffed by this should take priority over everything in your life. Thank you. Appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catches some of the hydras in the middle of the map. There's no creep here though. Like every place that Future has forced an engagement, there's no creep at all. So he's been able to get these ridiculous Baneling snipes. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, maybe Future is just a god. Maybe he's just actually a T-800 sent back in time to play StarCraft. Personally, I find the odds of that being very low. I think his control is just ridiculous. Good target fire with the tanks once again, and all the Banes one by one are going. Oh! The very final Baneling hits Marines, but he killed every single Baneling, and he gets out with some of his medevacs. He gets out with a bunch of Marines. He's up 30 supply after that. I can't lie. This is a really, really, really well played game. I'm just smiling right now at that micro from Future. It's just nasty. It's just filthy. Damaga's army is not going to be able to break the 4th base, and he never got his 4th saturated either, so he's broke. GG from Damaga. As we go into game number 2, I didn't see if he wrote something in chat there, so let's just go to the next one. We got this. I think he missed. I think he typed G. He typed GL and then he typed GG. I think he might have hit the wrong letters there. I do get the games in order, so we have the next map, and then I have a 3rd replay that may be fake. If anything ever goes wrong, or it seems like I blew it somehow, or I ruined the immersion or the experience, just blame me. It's okay. I want you to know that I'll try to make it better in the future. I am doing everything I can to try to consistently improve this experience for all of you. Watching live, watching the VODs, watching the short, although I probably won't make a short of myself talking about making a short, because self-referential humor is kind of overplayed. It's kind of overplayed. We know what's not overplayed is the engineering bay block versus Zerg. I love a good psychopath opening. When the Terran player does something like this, you're just bringing the most unholy level of grief imaginable to the Zerg player. Oh. So he blocks the natural with the eBay. He comes down, chases the Zerg drone to the 3rd, blocks again, and he's just gonna fight to the death, straight up 1v1. Oh, he wasn't ready. I'm Batman. And now what is really mind-blowing is not only did he kill the SCV, but he then, afterwards, decides to go take his hatch in the other spot. Why? I don't know. I cannot possibly give you an answer to that question. I don't know why you thought I would be able to. He is going to take the gas in his main, and it looks like the beginning of that normal Reaper build that people do. But if you're Damaga, it's like, how do you even play this out? Your hatchery should have been done a while ago. You should have been able to put drones on it already. Well, the natural hatch usually finishes at like 157, 156, depending. So it would be done right now. Instead, it's going to be done in another 40 seconds. So Future has just wasted so much of his time. And on a 1-base economy, when he can't use the other expansion yet anyway, does he want to start building tech? Does he want to start taking another gas, moving drones off minerals? These are the questions that kind of haunt me when you're in this position. So Future is not going to do the Reaper thing. He's just doing the Reaper wall thing. And this gives him that ability to just expand behind this safely. Almost wanted to see the Reapers though, because getting gas that early when your command center, your hatchery is blocked is, to me, that's still something that is, I don't know. We know that link speed is not going to be done for another 30 seconds, so maybe the Reapers wouldn't have been able to do anything. I suppose you could argue that Future did enough damage by delaying the natural that much. The Terran command center is supposed to be behind it a little bit. Like, you're not supposed to be even with the Zerg with the fast expand. That's this game called StarCraft where all the races were designed and balanced asymmetrically. It's all intentionally not the same. That's like the point of it in a way. Kind of like how these guys look like big bug alien monsters that would put a tentacle in your forehead and drink out your brain like a smoothie. And these guys look like they would have their brain drunk out of their head like smoothies. And here's where it gets interesting. Damaga with the banelings, right? He's got 7 banes morphing outside of Future's base. He is just going to bring it to him. He's going to try and smash this down. This is enough banelings to blow up a depot. And then he can go for stam. He can do whatever he wants. But is it enough banelings to blow up the depot and then help the lings kill all the Marines? That's the real question. That's what's going to decide it. He comes up here. Okay, Demaga looks like he's going to get some work done here. The Marines are trying to block off the ramp on the choke point. The Baneling target fire, all series. Filthy. Future's ability to target Banelings is criminal. Legitimately. We need to pass a United Nations binding resolution to stop Future from sniping Banelings, actually. Yeah, that's it. That's the answer. So he basically says, I'm going to cancel your stim or you're going to come fight me. And then Future says, fine, I'll come fight you. And then he snipes the Baneling, of course. And then now he's going to rebuild the wall. So Demaga, he's still just rallying lings across. He only has 18 drones. So even if you thought him killing SCVs mattered, it doesn't really. He's got an actual 2-base economy because he's got a second orbital for mules. Demaga's economy, it's 1 base. I'm sorry. He's got 18 drones mining. It's not even 1 base. So it was a good hard-fought game by him, but I think that Future just got in his head a little bit, right? Is that how we kind of step away from this series and we say Future just played a crazy good macro game, but in the short game when Demaga just tries to push it, I don't know. Would Demaga have done this if Future hadn't blocked his hatchery with the eBay? These are the kinds of questions. These are the kinds of questions that if I was like an X-Files dude, that's probably what I would talk about. We would do like deep dives into cursed StarCraft games. We'd ask the what ifs. Maybe we'd use some like super high powered Azure compute cloud thing. Try and discover the secrets of the universe. So he does Baneling bust once again. Future stims. He sniped all the Banelings. Does not lose anything. Filthy. Filthy. And Future takes the 2-0. Well, there you go. Crushes him. Beautiful game. Great series. I don't know where to go from there. You've been enjoying the casts. Keep it up, Nate. Thanks, CJ. Thanks. Yeah, so what I'm doing is, I think those replays were out of order, by the way. I don't know. I still want to upload it, so I had to pretend during that I didn't think it was that way, but I think the replays might have been out of order. If you guys promise to never tell on me, or at the very least, if somebody ever tells you that I uploaded a cast in the wrong order, you say it's okay. I love Nathan anyway. I would appreciate that. They say we have them written map 1, map 2, map 3, but this was the only match that wasn't written that way, but they've all been in order, so I just assumed it was still in order. You know what happens when you assume. You grow tentacles and eyeballs all over your body and become a boss in a Resident Evil game. So we've got 2 semifinals and a final here. I wonder if we can get through it. My voice is definitely a little tired, but the more tired my voice usually gets, the more people seem to like it. So I don't think it's like a deterrent as long as it doesn't hurt. So just mildly hoarse, which again, people seem to like. So I'm having a bit of fun here. I want to know what happens in the semis because yeah. Oh yeah. This right here is where for me, it just gets fascinating. I'm going to look up this KSL bracket though. So this replay pack I got only has one of the semifinals. I can probably get the other replays. I just need to know who is in it. Does that make sense? I don't know who was. Let's see, KSL. Is that on here? I think it is. Korean Starleague. There we go. Korean StarCraft League. Beautiful. Beautiful. And this one was number 20? No, number 19. Okay. What was the other series then? Oh my goodness. Are we thinking he got tilted from the first game? In the end, it's still 2-0? Yeah, I'm not even sure though. Because I thought they'd give me dummy replays, so I was like, I don't even know. That match may not have been a 2-0, is what I'm saying. It may have been like a 2-1. But obviously there would be no reason for me to cast a third game if we just did 2 games where he lost. So I don't know. I'll try to decide if it's a moral issue or not to upload those games. Maybe I'll split it. Maybe I'll split it up and just upload the maps individually then for that series. Maybe that's how I solve it. And I'll just record the other game on its own over the weekend or something. I don't know. Just patch it in there. We do some light editing. We do some light editing of the whole entire thing. Yeah, Nathan, you're a real genius. Real men of genius. Did I miss you making Grandmaster? What's on the screen there? Oh, this is just here because that's the last time I was playing on this account. I was Grandmaster. It's because it's my Nathanias account. I've won 24 Grandmaster tournaments and 24 lifetime Grandmaster tournament wins. It's pretty dope. I don't play ranked on my main NA account. I'd like to leave something unsullied from the glory days, you know what I mean? My MMR is still like 5.5k. I'm just never gonna touch it. I'm just never gonna touch it again. Well, let's do the semi then. So apparently Estrella versus Dark was the semifinal, actually. So Estrella versus Dark was the other semifinal. The replays were not all submitted in one bunch for this week's event, which I guess is I'm gonna have to do a little bit of tidying up on the replays next time before I cast them so that we can avoid a situation like this. But we already did the first semifinal. So all we have to do is cast this semifinal and then we'll know who the finalists are, because I didn't look at the bracket. I didn't look at the end of the bracket. And we'll just see. How does that sound? So we've got Solar versus Future. We got another TVZ. That seems pretty good to me, right? You guys like Terran versus Zerg? Yeah, Nathan, I love it. Thank you. Okay, excellent. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. I'm Nathanias, and we have a Zerg versus Terran here for you today. We are in the second semi-final because when I get the replays sent, they're not always categorized and stuff to avoid spoilers, so I didn't even realize I actually casted the first semi-final as the first series I did of the whole tournament. So that doesn't really matter because this is the second semi-final, like I said. And we have Solar in the top left from Team Onside Gaming. Their name is Onside because they actually have a Madden team where they won the World Championship going for an onside kick every time. Fun fact. You can ask Solar about that. It's fascinating. In the bottom right, his opponent from IMXL, because they only wear large jackets, he is Future. Now, here's the most interesting thing I can tell you about Future. Nothing, because I can show you instead. This really says it all. So not only does he do a barracks in the wall at the front of the natural, which is not a surprising or even a new thing anymore, he puts his first barracks much closer to his opponent's base. So he's saying to Solar, you might be thinking that I would do the Reaper build everybody does, but I'm going to hit you a little bit harder than everybody else, a little bit faster. You know, that jab is coming in half a second sooner. It's going to knock you out, knock you on your backside. And you're going to land on your tailbone, actually. And even though it would seemingly just be a small punch, you get like that weird feeling where like you get that tingling numbness, and man, you're on the sidelines for like 2 weeks, bro. You got to be careful. Can't believe you're just fist fighting people out in the open. Jeez, that's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? I care about you. I care about your safety. So there is another barracks. So it's 3 racks Reaper is what this has turned into. First one is out. Future, what are you doing? What is happening here, man? He's going... What is it? What did they call it in the 70s? Reaper madness, back when everybody would just mass Reapers every game. That's all it talked about on the TV. Kate's grandma told me about it. Yeah, the Reaper madness. Everybody hated TVT back then too, apparently. Wasn't just me. So he kills the lings, right? He gets like a tiny poke, but no drone kills, which you definitely want with this strategy. He can still expand behind this like the normal Reaper play. So it's not like it's even an out of hand sort of thing, but it is just such a fun, aggressive way to start the game. Oh, one Reaper does get caught, however. That is not good. It's a very momentum-based thing. Back when we were doing WCS, I actually, usually In Control would offer me $5 every time that I would say the word, I would say that word. So it kind of became a meme. People loved it. I made a lot of money on the side. Momentum, it's a big one for me. Queen at the top of the cliff does shut it down, though. The Reapers poking the front with a little grenade action. So you're still making 3 Reapers at a time. And without Ling speed or a very large number of Zerglings, the Reapers can deny the 3rd base forever. There is a drone over there, but if the Reapers go to that spot, like right now, he should be able to deny it. Otherwise, it's actually quite nice for Solar that he gets the 3rd base up, because he really has no right to be able to finish it. So the fact that the Reapers are just staying here trading their grenades out with the Queens while Ling speed finishes is really, really good. Because if Solar can just finish this 3rd and not have to cancel it even one more time, I think that's a colossal advantage for him. The natural command center is only just now finishing for Future. I mean, if he gets the Queens, then we're back in business. Okay. He's trying to do some grenade micro. He's trying to do some real fancy grenade micro. He's stepping back. He's booping. No, I think we did the momentum thing like once. It wasn't a regular thing. Usually it would be like a word. Like that would be the bet would be to squeeze a word into a cast as much as possible. Like that's the way. I know Artosis and Tasteless had their sociopath thing they did where they just wouldn't cast the caster chicken. I mean, that's just pure evil. That's just pure evil, because you're basically putting whoever has the least seniority on the desk in danger, right? You know, the producer's not gonna yell at Nick or Dan, obviously. But if Dan challenges me to caster chicken and we're casting together, like, I'm just boned. I can't do anything. If Artosis doesn't talk for the whole game, no one will care. If I don't talk for the whole game, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you think you're on the level of Artosis. And he's just sitting there looking at me all smug like, yeah, Nathanias, you know you have to introduce those players, bitch. And I'm like, damn, Artosis is right. He's got seniority on me. And that's when I realized it's not worth playing caster chicken. So I much prefer games like Say the Word. Or I think we call it Keyword. Keyword is what we call it. This is a disgusting amount of Reapers, by the way. I thought the Reaper Madness joke was a little on the nose, but now I'm not sure it was enough. The cliff on this map and the way that these mineral patches make a choke, like, it's actually so sick. He's getting +1, but he has not killed anything. Like, it's like the Power Rangers. They're dancing around, they're moving, you can see the things are happening, but there's no result. You know, they never actually take down the evil alien chick. Otherwise, how else would she keep summoning monsters constantly? So that's kind of what this feels like. We've got a bunch of enemies that are not weak to these grenades, but these grenades are the only weapons we have. So he's building 5 Reapers at a time now. Oh man. Am I just gonna like wake up? I'm just gonna wake up. It's gonna be 6 o'clock in the morning again. Katz is gonna be texting me, Nate, get out of bed. It's your time to play. It's all coming back to me now. There's no way that the Zerglings can ever really effectively engage these Reapers, right? Even in the choke? Or maybe not. Maybe my hope in the Reapers was misplaced. Future is super dead. GG. Okay. Well, I know you guys were really, really excited. I know you were tremendously excited to know what was going to happen when a bajillion Zerglings surround the Reapers. The Reapers die. There you go. There you go. Little bow. Little tip of the cap there for you. Let's go into game 2. Let's go into game 2. That was a very weird game. I think a lot of people just don't like, if you didn't know how to play against it at all and you took a bad fight or got baited into the choke, then I think there's an argument to be made for what the +1 Reapers can do. But I think that the part of it was that he forced his hand too much. He forced his hand too much. Yeah, let's not see that again, because what really bothered me about it is, can it work? The answer is actually yes. However, oh my, no, he's doing the eBay block again. Future, he's a psychopath. That's all this is. He's absolutely crazy. Lock him up, throw away the key, put a straitjacket on him. All right, let's get a reverse bear trap from Saw for this guy so he can't get too far away. All right, we need to monitor him. Now you come in with the SCV and you see no gas, no pool. The Zerg player is just chilling after what you did to him. And I would love if he went for the third hatch, honestly. Future went command center first this game. So I like that a lot. The Zerg has to start with their base in an unideal place. You get to take the fastest expand possible for Terran. Get the SCV production up early. That's always very nice. So that really helps get the income to a good place. And then he can kind of do whatever he wants out of this. He could go for extra barracks. He could build a third command center. He could go double gas. If he builds more barracks and then like 2 is the normal number after the command center first and then gas. So this is normal. I was going to say if he starts building Reapers again, I'm going to get really upset. I'm going to get really upset. This will turn from a cast video into like one of those just rants. I'm gonna have to put on my moist critical hat and just start talking about how much I hate Future's Reaper build. But I don't think we're in that reality. I pray we're not anyway. So out of Solar, he's not being Reaper cheesed this time around. He's not gonna have to fight 5 racks worth of Reapers. And just to be clear, I was being very nitpicky of the Reapers because with +1 attack, they kill those lings crazy fast. But he was impatient. That fight with all the lings around the Reapers should never happen until that +1 is done. I will admit, because even though I don't do that build, I have to recognize its strength. The strength of that build is when +1 finishes and the Reapers need 1 less hit to kill the lings. That actually means a lot because the Reapers, there's a lot of them and they attack fast. So, and they have multiple attacks. So they start canceling their own attack animations and resetting, and that's better. It's better to do that than to take the whole second half of the shot to kill the ling. So it actually can work. It's just wait for +1, bro. Sorry. It's coming out again. Solar does have Ravagers approaching. He also has a few roaches with 2 lings encroaching. Back in Future's base, a factory is in place. And 2 barracks we have running. Second depot at the front of the wall. No bunker, though. No bunker. No stim. No chance? Is that it? How could he hold this? If his stim gets sniped, I see no reality. Not even a Doctor Strange reality where he pulls this one out. He really cannot afford to have. There's 3 Ravagers there. Bring the repair. Please, God, don't let that stim just die without even trying to save it. Please, I will get upset. Oh, no. Oh, that's... I mean, I didn't think he could save it either way, but he should have been willing to lose some SCVs there, maybe. He's going to walk up the ramp. So what happens now? What happens here? The SCVs... Okay, they actually do get the repair on the bunker this time. That's nice. Let's keep in mind that Solar is behind on drones. And even if he was even, that would still technically be behind. So, Future, he can afford to do this. My question becomes, what exactly does he do about this awkward, like, no stim situation? Losing stim just really hurts. I think if he finishes it, he just chases these down. If you kill the Ravagers, game's over. He couldn't do that, so it's a bit tough. A little bit difficult. Feels like all he can do is just wait for the starport or for stim. Solar's gonna bring his units home though, so that's nice. I think he wasn't sure when stim was gonna finish himself, or if those medevacs were gonna come in, or if he was gonna have like a counterattack or a liberator or something. So Solar is just now taking his actual natural. So it's probably worth pointing out that, again, his economy was not that great. He's still even in workers with the Terran, which, by the way, mules exist. So have you heard of our Lord and Savior mule? They can mine over patches with SCVs. They always die holding 25 minerals, and they can dance. And if you ever call one down away from a mineral patch, you're just a bad person. Even if you could be the most charitable human in the world. You could literally establish life on Mars. But if you drop a mule away from a mineral patch, you're a monster. You go be written down in the annals of history as one of the worst people of all time, ever. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. So 2 medevacs. Stim is still not done because of aforementioned stim cancellation. But Ravagers can't really chase bio off creep. I feel like that's kind of a known thing. So Solar, he's just continuing to drone up. He's going for his lair tech now. He's getting out a few extra lings, I think, because he wants to have that dive potential. He wants to be able to force the stim and keep the army running. That's kind of what's happening right now, is he wants to hold him back, and then this would be a great time. Yeah, there's the biles. Try to hit the medevacs, so you force everything else to lift up and move. So that's nice. Not too shabby at all. Lair is a little bit past halfway done. Stim pack is done, and there's combat shield. So now, I mean, Marines and Marauders are just completely different units with and without stim. There's nobody in this world that would argue that stim is not a transformative research. So now this is where it gets really difficult. Solar went for the early pressure, but the Ravagers, even though the biles can do damage, we've got a very fast mobile Terran army. SCVs even being pulled with this. So the biles are gonna land, just hits 1 or 2 SCVs. And if the Marines get onto the Ravagers, and when I say if, I mean when, the Marines kill them very quickly. Ravagers, they only have 120 health. That's as much as a Cyclone. They're very, very low HP, and they are dead. They're all dead. That should be game. I think Future ties it up. Nicely done. Very nicely done. The WW coming out of Solar, and now we go to game number 3. Go to game number 3. I do not know what the length of this game is. I do not know who wins. I haven't seen the bracket, but all I know is that we have a tied 1-1 series. This is the second semifinal. We already had the first one earlier with Estrella versus Dunk. And in the bottom right, we got the blue Zerg, and he is Solar. He faces off against Future in the top left. So, Future, let's take a look, right? Let's really think about this. Let's hash it out. What has actually happened in this series? In game 1, Future proxied his first barracks right outside of Solar's third. He built a second barracks back home, and then another, and then he expanded, and then he built another barracks and another, and he had 5 racks Reaper on 2 bases with +1 attack. And he took the big fight right before +1 attack finished, and he died instantly. So that was not super great. Could he try that again? I don't think so. Could he improve on it? I mean, he could. If he had +1, then I think that anything's on the table. I don't see any reason why not. But yeah, no. And then in game 2, he went command center first, but he NG blocked Solar. So he tried to force him to be aggressive. And that worked. Solar came across the map with Ravagers. He blew up Stim. And you would think that that would put him in a great position, but then Future just restarted Stim and moved across the map and killed him because, I mean, he went command center first. He had a lot of money. His army was pretty big, even though things were tough. And he pulled his SCVs with the attack as well. So it's been interesting. The way I see it, this has been just like a very, I don't know, strange, but like also full of learning moments kind of series. Like there's a lot of things you can point to in this matchup and be like, well, this is why you would do that, and this is why you would do that, and this is why Future would build his command center on the low ground, because it's a Terran versus Zerg, and Zerg usually don't have anything they can do to stop you from doing that. Now, Future is sending out an SCV to the corner of the map. This is a little bit unusual. His factory's almost done. Is this going to be like Hellion drop? I'm guessing Hellion drop. He's going to build a starport here and then try to drop Hellions. He's going to rally them out here, most likely. Give them the slip. There's the Hellions. They're on the way. Starport in production. And the natural command center finishing as well. And Solar checked it too, so he saw that the orbital was beginning. Is he gonna find? No, there's no way, right? He's gonna check the corner, but there's no way. There's just no way. He's taking his third base. What Solar is doing is pretty normal. Playing on Babylon, so you have a little bit more choke points to work with. It's not as open. Like this space, I think right outside the natural is kind of open. And when you open the rocks on the third, it gets more open. But what I'm trying to say, and the reason I keep using the word open a million times, is because I'm really trying to stress how not open it is immediately anyway. That's why the medevac for the Hellions is a big thing. Because getting up this ramp, it's tough. It's tough, and it's really far from the front of this ramp to the main base mineral line. Like you're not jumping past the natural. You have to completely cross to the other side to do a run by. So I really like the medevac drop for that reason alone. Obviously, you could build a Viking or a Liberator follow-up, try to deal damage, but kind of shows those Hellions. Now comes down, and I don't know if he knew, but he's about to. So he has slow lings. Slow lings to try and catch this. The Queen's just focused down on the medevac, and oh no. Oh no. Goodbye. All the Hellions into the water. You would think that would save them, but because they're fire types, it's like Charmander, you know? The tail light goes out, and then pilot light goes out. Don't ever turn off a Charmander's pilot light, all right? It's illegal. They say when that flame goes out, they die, you know? It's like crazy, but I wouldn't want that to happen. Not to my Pokemon. Bet you can never guess which one I started with. Oh, he was about to finally find the starport. Did he make a Viking? Just a Liberator. You know, I love the Pult Viking in TVZ. Probably one of my favorite little moves anybody does in this matchup is getting that Viking out to deny vision, clear overlords. There's not a lot of overlords out on the map this game, but even just pushing these back a little bit, right, into the base a little bit more can still be nice, denying vision. There's a lot of Zerg players too that don't respect it either. So you can do a lot. I think my high score with the Viking killing stuff is probably what, 7 overlords, maybe 8. We won't count Null. Some guy played 20 years ago, let me blow up all of his overlords. I don't know why. I think he enjoyed it. He was a freak. Solar's gonna open up the rocks, and this starts to make things nice. Now for the Zerg, you don't have to worry about getting sieged here. I think that's maybe a big contention point, is the Terran tries to siege up either this high ground cliff or the other side of the rocks, but by being able to get it all opened up, getting this ling count nice and high, the only thing that I'm not crazy about for Solar is that this has obviously been a very good economic setup for him. He's got a lot of bases, he's got money, he's got his upgrades going. The Baneling Nest in the lair, he's not being attacked yet, so it's totally fine. I'm not making any sort of serious criticism or anything. Like, his Baneling speed is not crazy fast. So if he was getting attacked in the last minute or in the next minute, then maybe he'd be in more trouble. But Future doesn't really have many options. He's just set up very, very nicely on his 2 bases. He's taken the 3rd. I wouldn't classify this as a secured 3rd yet. Maybe Solar would try to do something here, but once he has Marines in those bunkers, you know, a little bit more. There's just not a lot to actually defend this if all the Lings came over, so makes me a little nervous. Puts me on edge, you could say. Armory is coming in as 1-1 finishes, and I mean the layer is already done, so the next set of upgrades pretty easy pathway for both players now. Solar continuing to spread the creep directly ahead, and on this map, it's all about this position. You spread the creep here. Once the creep is past the line of sight blocker, you just move in every direction from here. Bring that Overlord over when the Terran's not looking. Poop a little creep here. Get a tumor up the cliff. Make life a nightmare. We do have a lot of Lings, by the way. 71 Lings. 80 up to 80 plus now, actually. When you have to siege up on the perimeter of your own base, that's when you know it's a lot of creep to deal with. There's a huge contingent of Lings on the north side just waiting for him to step too far, because he's probably thinking that all the Zerg is right here, and that's the impression he'll get. But if he steps a little bit further forward, I think he's super dead. He's going to get 360 surrounded like an Xbox. Oh, Liberator in the main base, though, is going to get a Queen. Okay, gets a little drone there. Can maybe deny some of these morphing units, looks like. Going to get an egg. Maybe going to get another egg. Okay, gets a drone and a hit on a Queen. I think that's a little bit better. I wasn't sure if he was going to challenge this ramp. He should know. So I mean, Solar is maxed out on Ling Bane. He's got 9 Hydras coming in, but 120 Lings with 25 Banes. That is nothing to scoff at. Upgrades are dead even, by the way. The 2-2, it's like perfectly lined up for both of them. So Future's gonna scan. He sees, oh my goodness, that is a crazy amount of Ling Bane. I don't think tanks can do it at all. I think tanks are kind of becoming obsolete. Thankfully, Future agrees with me. He's getting 2nd factory and drilling claws for his Widow Mines. And you get a lot of mines against this, then I start to believe. You want to dump gas into Liberators, dump it into Ghosts, dump it into upgrades. Don't dump your gas into siege tanks, because they suck. All right, I'll say it right now. I hate tanks. I am not a fan of them whatsoever. Build the damn Widow Mines. Huge respread of the creep right outside of his base again. Scans, is forced back. Oh, there you go. That's a decent mine hit. 10 Lings killed there with that mine shot. Not bad at all. I'm gonna pretend that was the first time it ever fired anyway. I have to protect my headcannon. The tanks were all left in the middle though, and that's a pretty fair space to zone away. If you're gonna be playing to zone, that's the spot. I think that maybe you want to spread them out a little bit before the Vipers come out, because we know that Vipers are on the way. It's obviously late enough for it to be that hive tech situation. But on Babylon, then you kind of get stretched thin. You're trying to hold a couple of different alleyways your opponent could take to your base. So the real question becomes, what does Solar want to do? Does he want to just make a huge Baneling bust and smash down the planetaries and just push through things here? Is he going to try and go into like Broodlords? Are we going to see Nidus? I really love when we see the Zerg players break out the Nidus against the Terran. The Terran army, you don't have warp in, you don't have recall. So if you're maxed out, then that means nothing in your main base is building. And if nothing in your main base is building and you get attacked there, then you just have no units at all. So he comes up, he's going to get the deny on one of the command centers, but not really committing to the full engagement yet is Solar. Future has still left some forces in the middle of the map, but the majority of them now protecting that west flank. And look at this, 64 more Lings. Oh my goodness. He's going right back up to 100 Zerglings. And that's what you love to see. He's funneling his gas into the lurkers. He's funneling his gas into the upgrades, and especially the research for the lurkers. But as far as actual army is concerned, he hasn't been under pressure to build much anything other than just the Lings and Banes. The Queens have done a phenomenal job of spreading creep. They've maintained a tremendous amount of map vision. He's got a great idea of where the Terran army is. These Queens are going to get caught, though, trying to re-spread in the middle. That's a very nice pickup for Future. as he denies, and you're cutting the map in half in a weird way when you kill the creep that way. And the Lings and the Banes on their own will not break this. I don't think that happens. I don't think that's enough. It's going to become about the Vipers. It's going to become about the Lurkers. So let's take stock then. We have 5 Lurkers at the moment. 7 Hydras, about 100 Lings, 35 Banes. It's going to try and come through the middle. Blinding Cloud on the siege tanks. So those will go down pretty quickly. That's what I was talking about, though. That's where those Vipers really pay for themselves. Just neutralize the tanks. Those don't work against Widow Mines, by the way. The fact that he went back to building 3 tanks at a time, I get it for the Lurkers, but that's why I was like, going to Ghosts, going to Liberators. That's why I said that 5-7 minutes ago. Not that I could ever play better than this guy, ever, just to be clear. Future would absolutely smoke me like a Cuban cigar or something, I don't know. But, gotta use G-rated smoking references. Oh. I was like, don't, careful about blocking your own base off there. But I would love to see ranged Liberators against the Lurkers. They're so good. They're so good. The problem with the tanks, the problem with the siege tanks is, yeah, it's just they're always going to get Blinding Cloud. So getting the tank account high enough is just tricky because it just makes your army too slow. But he's building 3 at a time. Getting into that split map scenario in TVZ, it feels like there's always a way to pull it out. But I think that Solar has already considered this direction of the game. It feels like the way that he's expanded and the way that he's kind of circled around the map from the early phases. He's got some idle drones, but not a big deal. There's definitely no risk of running out of money in play for him. He's got so much resources. So this turns into starve the Terran out, make pushes on their weak points. The problem with siege tanks, again, is, you know, they're really good when they're all bunched up together and they can all fire. But that is when Blinding Cloud becomes good. So you spread the tanks out, and then what happens? Well, tanks spread out are, honestly, they're not better than this. So the Lurkers get the great siege up on the north side. The Lings are coming with the Banes through the bot to crush that. He actually breaks these rocks too, so he can't even go over to help his own army. And now these tanks need to reposition all the way around the outside again. This siege tank's not even in range of the Lurkers. I think he has one of them in range, so almost zones away for the 3rd base. And quite a few tanks in the southwest. What should you do with all those minerals? Well, I'd like to see just him use the Lings and the Nidus. So I do really like the Nidus network. I think that's a phenomenal choice. I think the Nidus network is one of the best ways to kill a Terran, especially when they're maxed out. Because even though he kills some units, if he's building a bunch of Marines and they're all popping, oh my god, this planetary just got wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. I think Solar might even just kill him here. The only thing maybe stopping him are those rocks in this Sim City, but he just absolutely torched them. Just walks up on the tanks, pops them. Now these Lurkers are all pretty exposed. The Nidus being on the high ground in scan range to me maybe is a mistake. But he's turning this into, oh yeah, look at that, 30 Banelings. So he's saying, look, if you try to push onto creep and counterattack, I will kill you. But I think he can just funnel all of his minerals into just huge Ling dumps and just Nidus him over and over again. If you can get 50 Speedlings with adrenal glands in your opponent's main base, it is very hard to lose games of StarCraft, just to be clear. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, sure, but it's good. It's very powerful. There's a reason it's not easy. So the Nidus gets shut down. The Banes are just going to trade out because Solar realizing that he just has this huge economic advantage. And there it is, GG. Future taps out at 98 supply. And a great win for Solar. Yeah, I mean, that game just got out of hand really, really fast. Solar absolutely did not take damage from anything. Proxying a starport for a Hellion drop against Zerg. I really do enjoy a good TVZ, but the Hellion drops onto them are tough. Hellion drops on Zerg are tough. Yeah, I think the reason he had all those minerals is just because he wasn't losing enough units. He was hardly needing to replace them. He was hardly needing to replace them at all. You said tanks are not so great. Are they worthless to drop? I mean, you could do whatever you want with them. I'm personally not a big fan of tanks. I don't think that siege tanks are bad, but yeah, it's not like siege tanks are necessarily bad, because in certain scenarios they can be very good or necessary, but I do not like tanks. And I think that once you are in a situation where you are trying to leave your base, that's when you should no longer be using them. Because the thing is, a couple of tanks positioned behind a wall or as like anti-run by or anti-baneling run bys, stuff like that, to me, makes a lot of sense. But when you're trying to get out on the map, they just take so long to siege. They don't have any ability to defend themselves, especially if the opponent gets close. And they take so long to unsiege, and then they don't really do anything unsieged, right? They're just kind of bad units when they're not sieged up. So those are all things that make me not enjoy using them, because they're very slow, they're very exploitable. So yeah, to me, it really just boils down to Widow Mines. Widow Mines can A, save themselves. B, they can be permanently cloaked, so they literally require detection to be shut down. C, they have a larger splash area than tanks do. And D, yeah, they can hit air units. So like there's not really any downside. There are so many times where fights happen where there's like 6 or 7 Widow Mines left over, and then you forget that that's like 2 siege tanks worth of gas that's just alive, that didn't die in the fight because there was no overseer, or because you killed the overseer, or because the Widow Mines killed the overseer. And I think that if you don't take into consideration things like that, I think you lose sight of what makes the unit so good. But in any fight like that where you use tanks, usually your tanks are all dead. The siege tanks do not add much more damage than the mines. You could argue that the tanks can shoot multiple times. I would argue that the Zerg is only going to let you fight once. If the Zerg player is taking a fight against you, they probably know your tanks aren't going to get to shoot a whole bunch of times from a huge distance and shell away at them, right? So that's kind of where it goes for me, you know? Yeah, that's just my thoughts though. I don't play a lot of Bio versus Zerg anymore, but when I do, I use tanks because I leave them at home. I never leave my base with the tanks, because siege tanks, again, I just think they're too exploitable. If I want to move out with factory units, I'll make another factory, or I'll switch my factory over. I'll make like Hellions or Cyclones if I'm playing Battle Mech. But the only time that you unsiege your tanks and bring them on the map is to end the game. And that is a judgment call that you can only learn how to make through experience. But if you're not experienced and you just grab your tanks willy-nilly and just go for it, I mean, I'm sure everybody's had that happen to them before, where all of a sudden 10 charge lots from off screen just roll up and you're not sieged, and then you try to siege and then they kill your tanks before they even siege, and then all of your other units that were trying to kill them get blown up by friendly fire, or, you know, they just die because you didn't have any support. Because the reality is, if you move out of your base with 20 supply of tanks, that 20 supply is completely useless unless it is sieged up in advance outside your opponent's base. Otherwise, it's just out on the map waiting to die, right? And so often, against good Zerg players, they want to keep you from going across the map that fast. They're going to try and stall you. They're going to push the creep spread out, and you're going to find yourself very often in situations where you're like, oh, I just can't go. I'm going to get another water, and we're going to play some games. How does that sound? Play some ladder games. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Good to see you, by the way, Zeratol. Yeah, the nice thing about this stuff, of course, is that it's always available. It's always available to watch. I did do today's stream in 1440 though. I thought that would be nice. I was hoping you would enjoy yourselves. I was hoping so, a little bit, perhaps a tiny smidge. Let's play some SC2, huh? Let's crush some nerds. All right, we'll consider this one our warm-up game then, huh? Let's get it. We got a TVT. No better way to start the day. No better way to start the day. I got back over the 4.9 mark yesterday, MMR-wise. That was nice.
In the rear with the SCV ready. Big job, huh? It's your dime. Huh? SCV ready.
Spill that T versus T. I like it. I like it, CJ. He brought the yolks with him today. He brought the yolks.
SCV ready.
I did switch over to a new audio interface today. I know now that we're done casting, it'll be easier for me to ask for feedback live, but I hope the sound has been good today. We did a little bit of tuning this morning during our warm-up.
Huh? Bad news. What's going? Go ahead. SCV ready. Huh? Ben. What's going? Ben. What's going? Ben.
Sounds good. Nice. Excellent. 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 We did not get up to too much last night. They did. Katie and I like to watch some like trash reality TV, so like Below Deck and stuff. So last night they premiered the new season of the one where they're in Australia, and they also did like the reunion, like on like basically a Zoom call with all the cast of the sailing yacht season, where they all just yelled at each other. It was amazing. Love watching some degenerate humans just suffer the consequences of their own actions endlessly in a loop and around each other, you know. Just does it for me. So that's what we were doing yesterday. We've been feeling like there's not as many good new like multiplayer type games to get into, which kind of sucks. I feel like as far as things go, that's probably there hasn't been anything we've been super crazy excited about. We've been enjoying Outlast Trials, but the game also hasn't been updated in a little bit now, so it's like I'm sure that there will be another good update at some point in the not too distant future, but at the same time it's also not out yet, so I'm just here waiting. But that's it. Not really much anything crazy happening. It took me a minute to realize Below Deck isn't that animated Star Trek show. No. It's about yachties. It's about people out on yachts serving bajillionaires and I guess having relations with everybody else on the boat to the point of it causing a lot of problems. It's like Real Housewives, but boat employees. Does that make sense? He just absolutely clapped me. Let's wall that off. let's get a little wall off there. I lost the Hellion Reaper. But anyway, you learn some random things about different places and boats in the ocean, I guess, and stuff. So it's not all bad. It's not all bad. The average IQ of the people on the show might be like a dolphin's, but that's, you know, it's I don't hate for that. Everybody's got their own lives to live. You know? Not everybody wants to sit in front of a computer all the time. Some people want to go be out on the ocean all the time. Honestly, kind of sounds dope. Except I like being on my computer all the time, so here I am. That's the real reason I'm not on below deck right now, guys. Because I don't want to be. You can't tell I'm coping. They can't tell I'm coping, right? You know, nothing next to nothing about it. No, it's okay. I'm just making a little bit of small talk. Just a little TV show my wife and I like. We had a season premiere of it yesterday. They have like 4 different variations of this show now because they just get a different boat and a different crew, and they can just put a camera crew on it, basically. You know, so they have like a different cast for every sub genre, I guess, of it that they do. They have a Caribbean one, they have a Mediterranean Sea one, they have an Australia one, they have one where it's like the guy's on like a sailing yacht, because not all yachts have deployable sails or whatever, apparently, and that's an extra special thing rich people love. And then there's one in Norway where they just do like scuba diving and shit, apparently. But that one didn't look very interesting to me, so I didn't watch it. I like the one where the pretentious D-bags party until like 5 in the morning and then ask the crew why they can't have mojitos at 2 o'clock. It's a little more my speed.
State your request.
We just don't want him to be able to jump on us too quickly. Yeah, the sound, the microphone, and all that stuff should also be better tomorrow too. It's just I've been working on a lot of stuff. The biggest thing, I literally got voice meter working to get the audio over LAN. That was like that was the very last thing I did before I went live today. So I do hope to be able to further streamline processes and such in a way that does not have to become a regular thing we worry about. That's why we switched to the new audio device. Is long term it should just be better. So this is an old build that Nathanias used to do. I was watching through some of my old games, and the way that I did this build in TVT used to be different. So I'm trying to do it the way that Nathan, when he was better at the game, did it. I think he's a little smarter than I am. I gotta like reach down into the salt pools and try to retrieve the cursed knowledge of Nathanias before I became wholesome Giga Chad.
SCVs are under attack. Base
Oh, see, big mistake, bro. Thought he was gonna get the tank. Hey, must be the money. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, gonna have to deal with BCs. Hoping Nate News Network covers it though, if it hasn't been done already. Have to get there eventually. I have all sorts of ideas for random deep fried stuff, okay? But I'm, you know, I gotta be careful with how many times I want to swing before I destroy my own self-confidence, right before I release the the banger of all bangers. Gotta be. It's like my Uncle Ben never told me something about how nobody's ever responsible for anything. Feeling good though. That was great. That was a great dub. That was a great game. That does sound like a better title than Boat Employee Drama. Yeah, exactly. The sailing yacht boat is just all messed up because like the lead deckhand guy is basically, he's like a boat god, but he also sleeps with everybody on the boat. So they can't really get rid of him because he's one of the most experienced bosuns they have, who's like really good at his actual job. Like he's incredible at his job, but otherwise he's just macking on everybody else the whole way through. So that was it's always fun to see the hijinks people get into. He was trying to tell two girls that he loved them, and then when one of them bailed onto him and he tried to go back to the other, all of a sudden she was like, I told you I was just doing this for fun. And then he just lost it, man. His guy. Never seen a guy mauled harder in my entire life, honestly. Dude was straight up broken. I can't believe you crawling into bed with me, and then you tell me you don't... It means nothing to you. You've literally been trying to get back in Daisy's pants all season, okay? I'm just here for fun. I can't believe you would do this to me. That's his voice, by the way. That's Gary's voice. Sorry, I'm getting excited again. Got you. That's what I need, though. I need to build a fake Nate News Network set. There, then we can do all of our all of our updates, right? Why would I want to make a video where I just talk to my camera like it's serious, you know? There needs to be some pizzazz. There needs to be a little flair. I used to do these videos where I would like talk about the community feedback updates and stuff whenever they'd be released, and I would just do it over a normal like US flag or something dumb or boring. I'm like, why have I not constructed an entire fake studio set, even just virtually? That's what we're gonna have to do. We'll take it to the next level at some point. Gonna buy one of those NFT apartments and just run my stream out of there. See how long that lasts. Does Gary ever get into fights with the line cook? You know, the cook this season was pretty decent. Like, she wasn't really an interesting or funny person. She was just like a decent cook who did her job and didn't really get involved with the drama as much. Although I do believe on the second night she slept with Gary, if I recall. Or she might have been dating somebody. I'm not sure. I think Gary gets with at some point all the stewardesses and one of the deckhands. Yeah. And then I think he asks to try to bring a girl home from the club to the boat, but that is not allowed. Again, he's the bosun, and he's also one of the most experienced seamen on the ship. And he doesn't make mistakes or have any issues or cause trouble. You know, there was like a little smoke in the engine room at one point in the season, and he was in there immediately. He got in there so fast, the other guy was pissed at him because he's like, I told you there wasn't a fire. Okay, we were just burning off some oil. And he's like, mate, I see smoke coming out of the burner. I see smoke coming out of the engine room. I'm going in there. And I'm like, you know what, Gary? Normally I hate you, but your attention to policy of safety when it comes to people staying alive. Now I have a very different opinion of you compared to when you are attempting to get into the pants of all your coworkers. Because to me, that's when you elevate, right? That's when you elevate. Elevating is good. Send the SCVs for vision, and then Cyclones just lock on. Doesn't get easier for you at any point. Got him. Not sure if Void Rays are the answer to this. Well, look what his build was going to be. He was going to go Void Rays, Immortals. I mean, this guy made it seem like he was going to go like full Protoss mech against me. The Cyclones were definitely the right play. Beautiful. Beautiful. He didn't have anything else out there, right? Nope. Nice. That guy was 5k MMR, by the way. That was a good dub. We are feasting. We are feasting, feasting and fiending. Beautiful. What did he do? Gateway, Nexus. That was what got him, right? He went Nexus, then Core. He went Nexus, then Cyber Core. It's a tough spot to be in. Tough spot to play from. Haven't you had a thing with black shirt guy behind you? You mean Kyle? Nah, man. Kyle and I are like bros. All right. I was at his kid's bar mitzvah, all right? Bum, 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 bum. A player you are matched with has left the game or disconnected from the service. All right, then, there you go. Ba-da-dun-dun. Got to bounce, Nate. We'll check in later to see if you're still going. Great stuff as always. Thanks, CJ. I appreciate it, man. I'm just going to be playing some ladder games for a couple hours. That's all. That is all. I really, really thank you for your time. Thanks for hanging out, dude. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Today's been a good day. We got a bunch of casts together. That always makes me happy. I get to think of thumbnails to make for all of them this week. That's a very fulfilling, riveting experience for me. What can I say? There's not a lot of people searching for games right now, huh? Do I need to go over to EU? My MMR got too high. That was my mistake. I should never have gotten back to 5K. No! There's nobody left. There's nobody left. All right. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's go. Let's go to EU. My account on Europe is still a barcode. I will change it when I can, but I can't change it right now until the new season. There is a new season supposedly very soon though, right? So, yeah. There is a new season coming very soon. .tm. I'm gonna ban Babylon too, because I hate that map. Babylon broke my heart. I found out that Babylon is actually my worst map this season by a very large amount, by like a very disturbingly large amount, which I had never really considered or thought about before. So they're showing the top 10. They've been doing all the reveals for the characters, like the player stats and Madden and stuff this week. Quinnen Williams, who we just re-signed, is the 7th highest defensive lineman in the league at 92. And John Franklin Myers is at 91. Wild. That's kind of awesome to see John Franklin Myers get that love, though. Our defensive line is just unbelievably cracked now. Like, ridiculously. Ridiculously.
I'm going. Go ahead. Roger. What's going on? SCV ready.
Protoss.
In the rear with big jump. Let's go. Bandit, go ahead. Ah, that's near me. Sure thing.
That Euro lag, though, that European delay always gets me.
In the rear with the gear. SCV ready. You're the boss. Gotcha. Go ahead. Let's go. SCV ready. Ah! Ah! You scared me. SCV ready. Huh?
His little probe is running around. He's scouting me. He's scooting. He's scooting and scouting and scooting and scouting. And scouting and scooting. Oh.
In the rear. Huh? Yeah.
Base is under attack.
Who names themselves Pillow? Crazy. It's ridiculous.
What's going on?
Command center.
The Grim Reaper has arrived. SCV ready.
Oh my god, after playing on NA for a week, I go back to any game on Europe and I'm like, oh,
SCV ready.
my Cyclone superpowers. I don't have my superpowers when I'm on this server. That home field advantage is pretty big when you have the most micro intensive units in the game.
SCV ready.
I'm already making the excuses. I'm already setting us up for failure here. Don't worry, don't mind me.
Ah! You scared me. SCV ready.
Oh, he walled it. Okay, that's fair.
In the rear with the gear. SCV ready. Go ahead. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Thing is, like, one factory Cyclone is actually kind of easy to defend with Phoenix. It's the second one that makes it impossible. That's why I love this build so much. Oh man, my SCVs were misrallied. That's not good. I'm missing out on a lot of minerals there, I think.
Systems go. Cyclone ready for action. Optics online. Let's go kill something.
I like to just shift click rally them to all the Cyclones I currently have. It's like a little contingency.
Base is under attack.
I think I'm gonna go wait. I'm gonna go do some bench pressing after the stream today. I've really been trying to think about what I want to do with the YouTube stuff because I think the videos and the shorts are doing really well. I think the stream stuff is gonna take probably a lot of time. It doesn't really bother me at all. It's something that I expect. But I found out I'm not getting screwed as bad as everybody else on Twitch, so, you know, trying to figure out what to do with information like that is its own whole thing, too.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Oh, yeah, we are super dead. That's just GG. Well done. Yeah, I really like that we got 2. Okay, we got a Terran versus Zerg now.
SCV ready. Yep.
Oh, let's do the build, huh? Man, I probably should have gone straight there, but that's okay. Been trying to do that 2 racks build that a lot of players are using nowadays with the Reapers. Like you just go straight into it. I guess maybe the move should probably just take this gas now since it's gonna line up anyway.
You scared me. Huh? Go ahead. Huh? Go ahead. SCV ready.
I love that was his play, right? He was just gonna mosey a drone on over into my base, no problemo.
Big job, huh? SCV ready. What's going on? Huh? Big job. Ah! You scared me. Bad news. SCV ready. Bad news. Let's go. Ah! You scared me.
It's pretty funny though to get the deny, right? Him trying to send his drone up like that. Instead, he gets nothing. Well, let's go berserk, right? Let's just YOLO it.
Complete.
Why not? Let's go crazy.
SCV ready. Huh? Ah! You scared me. The Grand Reaper has arrived. SCV ready. Oh yeah, baby. Go ahead. Got something from what you. SCV ready. The Grand Reaper has arrived. Certainly. SCV ready.
Ah, they do get stuck, don't they? That's okay. We're just gonna YOLO it anyway. Why not?
SCV ready. SCV ready. SCV ready. The Grand Reaper has arrived. What's it? Huh? SCV ready. Go ahead. Feel the Grand
Perfect.
Reaper. Big job, huh?
Perfect. Oh. Ah, damn. Well, looks like I got caught. Yeah, that latency makes it not very fun, huh? Well, we couldn't find any games on NA. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap up and then maybe I'll just go live on Twitch in like maybe an hour. I think that's probably the play. I'll just do a short stream on Twitch in a little bit. I think that's the move. And then I can take some time to get lunch and work out. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate everybody coming by to support the YouTube action. It means a lot to me. I'll be on for round 2 later. See you around.